At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Welcome in to Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app, live from Indianapolis in the Final Four. Hanging out with you today here on SiriusXM, Channel 375, all of our great radio affiliates around the country. And we have a packed show for you today. Bleck and Abdalla live from the Final Four. If you want to join us at any point, you can call or text the show at 310-840-4910 on the air until 3 Eastern. Now, Abdalla, how about this? We are in Indy. We got here last night, having a great time. We saw the team buses pull into Indianapolis. We've seen the UConn student band unloading the instruments on the sidewalk. Kids. Yes, we've seen some things. We saw Tubby Smith at the bar last night, former Kentucky coach. Yes, we've seen some things here in Indianapolis.
Coach Cal was out here recruiting.
Yes, he was.
He asked you if you had eligibility left.
And I said, sir, you don't want me to play, but I would be.
I'm 40 years old, and no.
I would be a hell of a assistant.
Yeah,
I could help out. I could retrieve the balls after shots are missed.
Yeah,
I could break down some tape for you, Coach Cal. Come on, let's go. But yeah, he was on the phone, like just walking by us a little bit ago. So we're having a great time here in Indy, and we are here live for the Final Four. And there's a lot to do today here on the show.
Yeah, welcome to kind of my second home. Indianapolis is where my in-laws live. So
I
spend a lot of time here in Indy and Indianapolis.
So you know the scene.
I do. I know the sights and
some
the sounds.
Things here.
So yeah. We were taking in some of the sights last night. St. Elmo's and all that good stuff.
Look at you dropping St. Elmo's 5 minutes into the show.
Isn't that like the one place like you have to go? If everybody says you got to go to St. Elmo's, you got to get the shrimp cocktail.
Kind of is.
It's the one place you got to go.
It does feel like the one thing that people know about Indianapolis.
Yeah,
is that
I made that reservation in February to get us into St. Elmo's last night at the end of March or April 1st.
Yeah.
I made that reservation in February, but yeah, because the entire city is packed with people for the Final Four. It started yesterday with people coming in, and today with all of the media and Radio Row getting started, and the teams will start to come in. As you said, we saw the buses and the bands and everything, and practices will get underway, and everything is set as the teams descend upon Indianapolis, and we get ready for the games on Saturday.
You know, seeing some coaches at the bars, walking around here in Indy. Abdalla was struck by one individual sitting near us, right behind Abdalla at St. Elmo's last night, John Fanta.
Yeah,
you were like fanboying out that John
man.
Fanta was there.
Well, John Fanta is.
You didn't go up to him, but you were
I'm
fanboying out.
I'm not someone that's going to go up to a celebrity, okay? And I know that John Fanta is a member of the media here.
He's not DiCaprio.
No, he's not. Well, he is of college. He's the DiCaprio of college basketball.
He kind of is.
Okay.
To be honest, like we did see multiple groups of grown men fanboy and go up to him, which was awesome to see.
Exactly. He is, I feel like, the representative and spokesperson now for college basketball. And I think that, like, everybody that knows college basketball and follows it closely. Like if you're just parachuting in for, then there's nothing wrong with this. Coming in and watching during the conference tournaments and during the NCAA tournament, that's fine. But if you're ingrained in college basketball and you follow it and you're on social media, you know who John Fanta is, and he's a great representative. Super nice guy. He was taking pictures with people, like a member of the media who goes in. He goes into student sections. He follows he goes to like every single big game and every rivalry game and all this kind of stuff. And he's a great representative. And you were like, I think I recognize that guy. And you were describing him, and I'm like, that's John Fanta. And I heard his voice. I'm like, that's John Fanta.
You guys were sitting back to back.
I know. I could feel his presence.
You should have like knocked your spoon off the table.
No.
To have to like bend and then like reach for it, and then you guys both like connect eyes, and then boom, friendship. Next thing you know, he's hosting the show with you, and I'm gone.
No. I just hope that we can cross paths at some point.
I'm trying to get a job with Coach Cal. That's what I would be doing.
I mean, listen, I think you'd be great in the tape room. I think you'd be a great out of timeouts coach.
I mean, in a past life, I did have the opportunity to be on Tom Thibodeau's head coaching staff.
Chris, stay up.
Back in the day, that's an old story when the Bulls were making their run. But it's Bleck Abdalla live from the Final Four. So, like, that's kind of the scene. I will say this. Of all of the different host cities for big events, Indy does it right. And everything is within walking distance. The weather this weekend is going to be good, so you don't have to worry about that. But if the weather was poor heading into the weekend, everything's connected inside. So you can get from hotels to restaurants to the convention center to Lucas Oil Stadium. And I would imagine tonight into tomorrow, we will see a orange wave move into this city. I've already seen a lot of Michigan fans walking around the city, and we expect, Arizona and UConn to be represented as well. But the fact that Illinois is so close, the University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana, that I'm guessing over the next 24 hours, we are going to see a ton of Fighting Illini fans here in town.
Well, yeah, Michigan and Illinois, it's drivable, obviously. Arizona, UConn, TSA, it might take them a little longer to get here. The lines are longer. So with Michigan and Illinois, they can drive here. You don't have to worry about that like you and I drove here.
Is TSA up and running again?
I don't know. I don't know.
Are people getting paid finally?
You and I drove here, so we didn't have to deal with that.
Yeah, we made it in about 3 hours.
Exactly.
It was a very
with
nice
two
drive.
stops. We almost ran out of gas.
Nice drive.
We almost
Finish your thought, and we can talk about that.
Had to push the car. So I think we will start to see. We started to see the funny thing is everyone you see walking around has a quarter zip on with a different logo, and so either they're a fan of a team or they work for a team. I've seen Auburn quarter zips. I've seen every different school, even if they're not in the Final Four representative, because they're either a fan or they were. I've seen Rutgers. I've seen every single school represented so far around Indianapolis. And you're right, the fans are slowly starting to trickle in because
listen, the games are on Saturday.
Yeah, it's Thursday.
So it's Friday night, Saturday during the day. Those are the parties.
They're still setting up all the stages and stuff for all the fan experiences and everything. So
it's fantastic. So we're having a great time. So so far what we have set for today's show, Fran McCaffrey will join us at 12:30 Eastern. Head coach at Penn. We've talked to Fran before in the past. He's really good at breaking down the matchups and his own experience as Penn took on Illinois at the start of the tournament. So we can talk about how to scout the Illini as we head into the Final Four as well. Joey Chestnut will join us at 1 o'clock Eastern. We've talked to Joey Chestnut as well in the past. I mean, we've had conversations with Joey Chestnut comparing him to Michael Jordan and some of the greats in all of sports, because no one is better at competitive eating than Joey Chestnut. The dude's an absolute machine.
Yeah, I mean, he's got more championships than I think all of our great American champions combined. And he is our greatest American athlete. Because if you don't think competitive eating is an athletic endeavor,
Abdalla's being serious about this.
I have gotten into. You think Chris and I yell at each other?
You are dead serious.
I have gotten into yelling matches with people about how you go ahead and you eat 500 oysters in 3 minutes, and you see what it does to you. Okay, you can't do it. He can. Okay, so it is an athletic endeavor, and I put his strength and stamina up against anybody else's. So we are going to talk to an American hero and an American champion at 1 o'clock, and I am excited for it.
1:20 Eastern, James Jones, head coach at Yale, will join us. And then also at 2:10 Eastern, Kevin Kruger will join us. The Illinois assistant to the head coach will join us and talk Illini basketball. So we have a lot planned for you here on the show, the sights and sounds from Radio Row as we get set for the Final Four, Michigan, Arizona, Illinois, UConn, live from Indianapolis. And Abdalla, one thing before we get to a little football here with Kirk Cousins signing with the Raiders this morning, we did on the drive down. It took about 3 hours for us to get down here, and it was great, except about an hour and a half outside of Chicago, going south on I-65. We got into a bit of a pickle where we were trying to break off the little barometer where it tells you that you're on empty. Was it lit up. It said we were on empty, and we proceeded to push the limit, an extra 30 minutes or more past empty on the tank.
Yeah.
And we had a location ready. Hold on, not yet, Laura. Not yet with the music. Hold on. Separate story. We've got a situation where we had a gas station to go to.
Yeah.
And we missed the exit.
Nope, there was no exit. There was no exit there. I was in the right-hand lane. There was no exit there. I don't know why. I don't know what map you were using on your phone, whether it was Google or Apple or whatever. There was no exit there.
Uh-huh.
So you said there was, and you're like, did you miss it? I'm like, dude, you're sitting right there. There was nowhere
Like
to
the
exit.
gas station's right there.
I'm like, did you see an exit? Because there was nowhere for me to exit for us to get gas. So we rented a car, and they gave it to us with under a quarter of a tank less. It was probably it wasn't even like an eighth of a tank.
So you're blaming them?
No. They told us about it. He was like, there's no gas in this, so return it to us with no gas. And I was like, okay, fine, no problem. And so I was like, this gives us enough gas to get outside of Chicago and into the great state of Indiana, where gas is cheaper. And so we can get out there and get gas there. And I was like, all right, cool. So we start driving, and I'm like, all right, the gas meter hasn't moved at all. It's digital. It's not like an arm where you can start to see it to dip. And all of a sudden, it goes from an eighth of a tank to the light turning on. There's no, increments. It just goes from, you've got a decent amount of gas to, you are going to run out of gas real quick, buddy.
And you look up at me and you go, hey, how long until the next gas station? I go, about 3 miles. You go, how long does it say until we get there? I was like, 7 to 10 minutes.
I'm like, I don't know if we're going to make it, dude.
There was panic in your voice.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to make it.
You started to panic.
I'm not pushing this car to a gas station, nor am I walking to a gas station. So there was no exit. I will go to my grave saying that Google or Apple Maps, whichever you were using, was wrong about that exit. So we had
Apple.
to go.
I was using Apple.
Apple. That's why Google got it. I was going there, and there was no exit. So then we had to go to the next exit. That exit didn't have a gas station, so we had to go to the next exit. And then and then here's what happened.
Yeah? What happened?
We pull off the off-ramp.
Okay.
And of course, we have to stop. And normally, when you exit off the ramp, I'm just like, let's just keep green light, buddy. Let's just keep going. But the car in front of us was going so slow, they didn't go through the yellow light. I was just going to push it through the yellow light.
Yeah, glide.
And glide.
You were just going to let it flow.
I was just going to let it flow. I'm like, no, now I got to stop.
Oh.
I got to idle. And then I got to give some accelerator, which is going to use more gas.
You were definitely panicked.
And then again,
you
and
thought
then this
that we were
dude,
going to run
and
out
then
of gas.
this dude it happened again, where this dude slowed up through another yellow light. I'm like, dude, just go. And so then we had to stop again, and we finally coasted into the gas station.
We were fine.
Yeah,
it was
okay.
fine.
If this was my car.
Steady hand. I was good.
You weren't driving.
There was no worry for me.
You weren't driving. If this was my
Wait,
car.
Okay, if we ran out of gas, who do you think was going to have to walk to the gas station?
Oh, you. I'm not walking.
Okay, so shouldn't I be the one that should have been worried about that?
Yeah.
I knew I was going to have to walk.
Because of the car. I was going to stay with the car. If this was my car, I wouldn't have been worried because I know.
Because there's a countdown of the miles.
There's a countdown of the miles too, but
Yeah.
also I know what I've taken it down to fumes. I know how far I can get my car into the state of Indiana.
My answer to you when you're like, how long can you go after you hit empty? And I go, I don't know.
Well, usually
20 miles?
Yeah, it's like 20 miles. They give you a gallon or two after the light comes on or something like that, and it's usually
All right, one other item on the ride. So the car that we rented did not have Sirius XM. So we were listening to Jim Rome for about an hour until we lost, hour and a half until we lost our affiliate in Chicago that we could listen to on the FM frequency, the HD2 channel.
Yeah.
So then I decided that we should play a game where we just scan, and whatever song plays, we A, have to identify, and then B,
listen.
We have to listen to the song until we lost that station as we're driving through. Because I don't know the hot stations throughout the great state of Indiana, right? So we were just playing scan roulette, right? We were letting the car dictate what we were listening to.
Radio roulette.
And then Laura, fire up the Peter Cetera. So this song is playing, and I crank it because I'm like, Abdalla, let's have a moment on this trip down to Indy. Let's listen to it. And we're playing the game trying to figure out the names of songs and artists. And I go, this is Peter Cetera.
Yeah.
And Abdalla I go, is it Cetera or is it Chicago?
Yeah. And I'm convinced it's Cetera.
Oh, you told me with 100% fact.
Well, because I had the song, it's Chicago. I know, yeah.
So now you're going to go back on it?
No, because I know you sent the song to Laura, and I clicked the link.
See,
and you know why?
cheated.
No,
you cheated.
No. Well, yeah, because you sent a link to Laura, so I clicked on it to send what you were sending her. Because it sounds because I know what the song is called. It sounds a lot like his song "Glory Love," which is Cetera.
Okay.
So yeah.
Why was your reasoning for this not being a Chicago song?
Well, you know what the difference between a Chicago song and a Cetera song is?
What?
Horns.
But there's no horns in this.
There's usually horns in a Chicago song and
right.
not horns in a Cetera song.
We're driving down I-65 with this playing, and you're
Jamming.
yelling.
I'm not
yelling
yelling.
at
First
me
of all,
that,
I'm not
that
yelling.
it's,
First of all,
it's Chicago.
First of all, I let the
because
song
of horns.
First of all, I let the song breathe, and you quickly conceded that I was right because you just wanted to jam out.
Yes, this is true. Thank you, Laura. Thank you for playing the
No, just keep it going. I like
the clip from
No,
Chicago.
less Chris.
Yes, yeah. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Sponsored by Warner, the official ladder of NCAA March Madness and the official ladder of construction professionals everywhere. Conquer new heights with Warner. Available nationwide at Home Depot. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One and the Westwood One Sports app. Kirk Cousins is signing with the Las Vegas Raiders. And the intention is that Cousins will be the starter, and Fernando Mendoza, the likely number 1 pick overall, will learn underneath Cousins. Has there ever been a professional athlete to make more money in his career while doing less than Kirk Cousins? We talk about that coming up next here on Westwood One Sports.
The NFL Draft is less than a month away, and we will take you behind the curtain, literally live from Pittsburgh for the 2026 Draft with exclusive interviews of your team's picks from your home of the NFL, Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Broadcasting live from Indianapolis in the Final Four, it's Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. Earlier today, Kirk Cousins signs a 5-year, $172 million deal with the Las Vegas Raiders. That, as Adam Schefter points out, in reality is only a 1-year deal with a fully guaranteed $20 million that also has a club option that could push it to 2 for $80. Those are a lot of numbers. Essentially, what it is Kirk Cousins signing with the Raiders, 1 year, $20 million, with the option to be there longer. Essentially, he is the guy that Fernando Mendoza will learn from this upcoming season because the Raiders plan on drafting Mendoza with the number 1 pick. He had the pro day yesterday at Indiana, and they want a vet to start first to then ease the rookie in to the NFL lifestyle.
Why, they see him throw?
Dude, I saw like
they saw him like get Kirk on the phone. Like, what happened?
I saw multiple different opinions. Like, I saw people yesterday saying that it was the greatest pro day they've ever seen in their lives. Did you see the Louis Riddick quote where he was saying that, like, I've never seen a quarterback talking to his receivers and all this? It's like, come on, dude. They're throwing in practice.
Yeah,
like, what are we
on.
doing?
And then and look, Mendoza afterwards said he was there. Like, he knows where he's going to be drafted. He knows where he's going to be drafted. He literally could have done nothing. He said that he was there yesterday to support his teammates.
Yeah.
And he was going to make
sense.
his receivers look better, make everybody there that was at his pro day look better.
Yeah.
Because of the familiarity. Like, you know, you've got your quarterback throwing to you and everything like that. So good for him for doing that. Because, again, the only thing that could have gone wrong for him is him looking worse. Right? Like, it's not like someone's going to be like, oh, let's draft him. Like, you can't draft him higher than 1. So the only thing that could happen is this, which is signing Kirk Cousins. And, like, it's not like this was going to change their mind or anything, but it does bring into question, okay, is there a competition now? Like, are you paying your backup quarterback $20 million? We talked about how Albert Breer made reference on Monday when the owners' meeting started that the Steelers were an option for Kirk Cousins if Aaron Rodgers was dragging his feet, which he has been.
Yeah.
Well, that's off the table now.
Yep.
You know, now Kirk Cousins maybe was going to wait around to see if a team's quarterback got injured. And now that's off the table. Now Kirk Cousins is going to be a Raider, and I think he's a good veteran quarterback. I think he's the phrase you hear is good for the room all the time. Like I think I think this is literally Looper Fernando Mendoza. Like he's looking at an older version of himself.
They're both a little corny.
Yeah,
right. Like isn't that the concept there?
Absolutely.
They're both a little
absolutely
a little strange, maybe?
and that's fine.
Which is okay, but
if you're Fernando Mendoza, you've got to be thinking, am I not starting now? Like what's going on?
When all the free agency moves were taking place, didn't we have the conversation? What would be the least cool quarterback room in the NFL?
This one,
and it would be, and we were projecting that maybe Cousins goes to the Raiders, that Mendoza and Cousins in your quarterback room, like what a lame room.
What's Russell Wilson doing these days? Can he be added to the Raider room?
Could you imagine Russell Wilson being there?
I mean, with such a great
with those two,
with such a cool
Mr. Unlimited,
a cool franchise, like that is like with such a, like at a time you and I growing up were not allowed to wear Raider gear because of the affiliation with like gangs and stuff. Like
yeah, but it's
and
the
like,
Raiders, the silver and black. It's one of those things where I recently saw a clip online of Al Davis back in the day explaining how their uniforms will never change. And his reasoning is that there is no other team in all of sports that you can just say two colors and people know exactly
the silver and black.
What you're talking about.
Yeah.
And it's true. His marketing and his ideas to the way the Raiders look, they've held true over the decades and over the years. But I don't know if Al Davis really saw two bros hanging out with Cole's cash flying out of their pockets as his quarterbacks. Like, what does Kenny Stabler think about this?
Oof, these
like
two.
That dude was cool.
And I don't know what their plan is at quarterback. If it's going to be start Kirk Cousins and have Fernando Mendoza sit for a year, or just throw Fernando Mendoza and have Cousins be kind of like a mentor and a just in case if this is, because remember what happened with Bryce Young and the Panthers. They had to bench him for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then when he came back, he was great. Like he came back, he played better. It was I wouldn't say great, but he played better.
So when I say there is no professional athlete that has made more money but accomplished less in their career, Kirk Cousins is the first name you think of, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he is what? He has made more money than many great quarterbacks of this era. He's had this is going to be his third or fourth huge payday. And now, sure, yeah, technically it could be just a 1 year, $20 million deal. But 1 year, $20 million for what he provides, it's like, okay, sure. I don't know if there's ever been a quarterback who's done less in their career who has been able to sign the contracts that Kirk Cousins has signed. I don't think that exists. And I don't think if you look at other sports, I don't know if there's a player in other sports that has accomplished less for more money.
Well, and this isn't a team that's like going for it either. This isn't a team that is, they're not projected to win their division. This doesn't do anything for their win total. This doesn't do anything for their division odds. This isn't signaling to Max Crosby that you're going all in or anything like that. It's not like you made a trade for a great quarterback. You added Kirk Cousins. He played in 8 games last year and threw 10 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Like he was fine, but we were talking about how if you add him to the Steelers, it's not a huge drop off from Aaron Rodgers, but obviously Aaron Rodgers is a much better option. But you could get by with Kirk Cousins and Michael Pittman and DK Metcalf and that defense. You're not winning your division and you're not winning the AFC. But now with Kirk Cousins as a Raider, their Super Bowl odds they don't change. Their division odds don't change. And their win total doesn't change. Like nothing, they go from the same to the same. Like nothing happens here. Nothing happens. And now I'm worried about what is going to happen here with Fernando Mendoza and what is he going to do? Because if I'm Fernando Mendoza, I want to start right away. I want to be able to know that if I'm going to be drafted, I'm getting all the first team reps. I'm coming in and I'm working with all the receivers. I'm working with all the weapons, and I'm going to be starting week 1 of the NFL season. And Kirk Cousins is just going to be there to help me out.
Yeah, if you want to join the conversation, call or text. Think of athletes who have made more money who have accomplished less than Kirk Cousins. You can text us at 310-840-4910. You're right, and I understand, and let's take a listen to Clint Kubiak. This is the idea behind what the Raiders want to accomplish with Mendoza and Kirk Cousins.
I think in a perfect world that he's watching a mature adult, go and run an offense and run the team. But the situation is you might have that player, you might not. You might not have that veteran to show him the way. So he might come in and have to play immediately. But you'd rather him learn before he gets in the game. You don't always get to pick. It just doesn't work out the exact way you want it to. But at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you're bringing in an individual, drafting a guy that is mature enough to handle some adversity, whether it's him starting the first game or him starting the first game year 2.
So that was Clint Kubiak, and that makes sense. It makes a lot of sense, and that's exactly why the Raiders are doing this. Now, I will also throw out there, I don't think it's realistic that Kirk Cousins is going to play more than a handful of games. That's not the way that you should handle this. I understand what Kubiak is saying, but there is a clock on figuring out if your quarterback is the guy. So if you burn a season by not playing him, you don't know. For one reason or another, that's what has happened to the Minnesota Vikings. And the Vikings are in a tough spot now. They claim that it's a competition between Kyler Murray and J.J. McCarthy. It's not. Kyler Murray is going to be the starting quarterback there, and McCarthy is likely to end up somewhere else at some point, and we'll see if he can revamp his career like Geno Smith, like Sam Darnold, like Baker Mayfield in that second location. The reason why they didn't know is because he could not play from the start based on injuries, and then based on what they were doing. So when you look at the way you develop a young quarterback, it's kind of like you want to have a good offensive line, and you want to have a good offensive-minded head coach who's able to teach the young quarterback, but it's a sink-or-swim situation where you have to get them out there to then start to figure out whether or not they can get it enough that when the fifth-year option's there, you can extend and then eventually give them a new contract. And, that's just life in the NFL. You can't just wait around trying to develop a quarterback. So I understand why the Raiders are saying what they're saying, but that's not really realistic. And to suggest that Kirk Cousins is going to play all of next season, I don't think that that's going to happen. He may play in September. He may play into October, but then you're going to have to put Mendoza out there to try and figure out, because, what? You think Cousins is going to be out there and they're going to be winning games, so then they're going to be like, this is all working, this all makes a lot of sense, let's keep this going? No. The Raiders are not going to be winning games. No. So at some point, it's going to be like, all right, enough of Kirk Cousins out here. Let's go to the kid and see what he can do.
No, and what's going to happen is people are going to try to pinpoint an exact date, and you'll look at their bye week, and you'll be like, okay, it's been 6 weeks or 7 weeks, and then they have their bye week, or they've got like a mini bye before a Thursday night game at home or something like that, and that is like a perfect opportunity to put in Fernando Mendoza, and it's just it doesn't go well for teams that will look to do that, because when you draft a guy number 1 overall, you are supposed to start him day 1. You've invested way more in that player than if you were to draft him in the second round. If this were Ty Simpson, different story. If this were a team that was going to, if this were the Steelers, I would say that's a great decision. This is a completely different scenario. If Aaron Rodgers came out today and said, hey, retiring, game over, I'm done, the Steelers should sign Kirk Cousins, have him play for a little bit. They should draft Ty Simpson with their pick in the first round, develop him as much as you can, as fast as you can, and if he's ready in Week 10, you start him in Week 10 and get as much out of Kirk Cousins as you can. And that's the plan. But for the Raiders, who don't have playoff aspirations this year, what are you doing?
Right.
Start the guy as early as you can.
You're delaying the development. And here's the other thing. This is not a quarterback at Indiana that was a true freshman who only played in 10 games. This is a quarterback that's bounced around.
He won a national championship.
Well, of course, but he was at Cal first.
Yeah.
Transfers to Indiana. He's played multiple seasons in college football.
Yeah.
You're telling me he's not ready? If he's not ready, who's ready? I mean, come on. And I think when we look at the other quarterbacks, if you were the Patriots, would you have wanted to think about where the Patriots are at right now with Drake May. Mm-hmm. Would you have rather had him sit his rookie season? No. Mm-mm. The Chicago Bears, where they're at with Caleb Williams, would you rather had him sit than play in that first season? I know it was rocky, but I think the development that has taken place is necessary.
Yeah.
The same goes for Jaden Daniels. Or even if the Falcons were able to play Penix, he's always hurt, but that's the idea. So
Aaron Rodgers is a different situation. Mahomes is a different situation. Their teams were winning games with quarterbacks that were playing well. You're not going to take Brett Favre out and say you're done, buddy. We drafted a guy. Alex Smith was playing well for the Chiefs when they drafted Mahomes.
Well, okay, I'll say this, though. The one thing that irritates me about that, because that always comes up in these conversations, it's okay, it happened twice.
Yeah.
Out of how many quarterbacks that haven't worked out?
Exactly.
Who didn't play at the start?
Exactly.
Okay, you cherry-picked 2 Hall of Famers.
Exactly.
Congratulations.
Yeah. There's so many other examples of guys where it did work out. And guys where it worked out where they turned into Hall of Famers where their first year was horrible. Look at Peyton. I can cherry pick guys that turned into one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL in the history of the game. Look at Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning was god awful his first year, and look at what he turned into. One of the best quarterbacks ever. So I can cherry pick too and pick out guys that started right away and threw an insane amount of interceptions his first year and turned into one of the best quarterbacks of all time. So you can cherry pick here and there. And I think that when you, especially given what the Raiders have spent in the offseason trying to turn around their offensive line, when you spend that much on Tyler Linderbaum as your new center, and you try to get more offensive linemen, and you already have Ashton Genty as a decent running back who you're trying to bring along as well, and you hope he's better with a better offensive line because of how bad he was last year, not because of him, because of that offensive line. You hope that can all turn around. That you've kind of built everything around Fernando Mendoza, and now you're just going to say, nope, 1 year, we're going to wait.
Career earnings for Kirk Cousins, the number $321 million.
So much money.
$321 million for Kirk Cousins in his career. He's played 14 seasons in the NFL. He's never been a top 5 quarterback. He's always been a guy that's just been a little above average, serviceable. We have a text from the 719, which is out in Colorado. Here's the text. John Wall, career earnings, $276.5 million, has done less than Cousins. John Wall was at least at one point the top 5 point guard in the league.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, if you want to suggest that John Wall has done less in his career than Kirk Cousins, I think that's a pretty good comparison. You can text your idea to 310-840-4910. Who has accomplished less while making more in sports?
I think that when you look at what Kirk Cousins is now, it's tough to pick out anyone else in the NFL just because with quarterbacks the money is so big. Obviously, I mean,
well, it's NBA. Well, you could also look at baseball players. Baseball players sign humongous contracts. So I mean, it's the NBA, it's Major League Baseball, and then it would be quarterbacks. Those are the 3 that you could look at for huge inflated contracts.
Yeah.
And then
how much
you have
was Cousins' career earnings?
$321 million.
Deshaun Watson.
What is Watson at?
234.
I mean, but Watson hasn't done anything.
No,
But Watson was a better player before he got the money.
Yeah.
He was a far better player than Kirk Cousins ever was.
Of course.
Not right now. They both stink.
Yeah.
It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app, sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance, protecting small businesses with affordable coverage options. Quote today at progressivecommercial.com. We're live from the Final Four here in Indianapolis. Get you set for the action this weekend. Make sure you download the Westwood One Sports app. You can listen to the games. You can listen to all of our coverage of the games this weekend in Indy for the NCAA tournament, the Final Four. The world-famous Josh Graham, our college basketball insider and also host here on Westwood One Sports. Josh Graham is here. He hosted last night till 3 Eastern, stayed up, took a flight, walked into the convention center just after we did today.
Yeah.
He hasn't gone to bed yet. He's here. He's talking college hoops. He will join us live here on the set coming up next.
The Masters, where spring blooms, legends rise, and golf's most sacred traditions come alive. Every Masters moment on the Westwood One Sports app. We're live from Augusta, starting April 9th. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Live from the Final Four, it's Bleck and Abdalla hanging out with you here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Josh Graham now joins us here on the show from Westwood One Sports Night. Here's the situation with Josh. He's our college basketball insider, our expert. We love having him on the show. He is broadcasting live from Indy as well this weekend. He'll be covering the games on Saturday. He'll be covering the national championship game on Monday. He's got you covered. Make sure you follow Josh Graham on social. He's doing a great job. He joins us now. He hosted the show last night here on Westwood One Sports until 3 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
Stayed up, caught a flight to Indianapolis, came directly to the convention center where we're broadcasting from right now on Radio Row.
For you guys.
And you're just up. When are you going to sleep?
Never. A wise man once said,
When basketball's over?
we sleep in May. And I follow that edict, and that's when I'm going to sleep. I was worried about it for a second, Bleck Abdalla. But
Yeah.
then I walk in, and not a joke, I'm greeted by Joey Chestnut, who hands me a shrimp cocktail from St. Elmo's.
Dude, that'll get you going, man.
It woke me up right away.
Yeah.
So any doubt that I was going to be able to make it was quenched when Joey Chestnut handed me that burning sensation hot shrimp cocktail.
I feel like that's how everyone should be greeted when they get to Indianapolis. Is Joey Chestnut handing you a St. Elmo's shrimp cocktail? Because that, I mean,
You should have seen Abdalla going after that last night.
dude, I love the heat.
Face first into it.
And I had never had it before.
yeah. Oh,
so that was
gotcha.
my introduction to
Gotcha.
it. It
It's
reminds
something.
me, I've only had a cigar once in my life. I've only had a cigar. And the only reason I had it is I'm in Baltimore, and a guy walks up to me. I look up, and it's Ed Reed offering me a cigar.
Yeah.
And if Ed Reed offers
You
you a
take it.
cigar,
You got to.
take the damn cigar.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely you do. See, and I feel like this is, like you said, you sleep in May. This is your element. This
I'm
is
here.
your week. This is, you absolutely don't sleep until you're done with this. You're already getting interviews. You're talking to people. This is what you live for. And now, breaking down these games, getting into it, what is your mood going into this week? What do you think of these teams now that we're set for the Final Four?
It's a special Final Four. It's special because you have two schools with passionate fan bases that have not been to this stage in more than 2 decades. Illinois, 2005, with Dee Brown and Deron Williams getting there, falling to Roy Williams, the first of his 3 championship teams at Chapel Hill. And Arizona hasn't been here since it was Gilbert Arenas and Richard Jefferson in 2001, falling to a Coach K, maybe Coach K's best title team in 2001. So they're back, and then you have name brands. Michigan, they've only won 1 national championship in their history. That was in '89, and this is their 5th Final Four trip since then. The Fab Five losing in runner-ups in '92 and '93, and then it was a championship loss to Rick Pitino in a soon-to-be vacated title in 2013. 2018, it was Mo Wagner and Jordan Poole falling to a Villanova team that nobody was going to beat. So now Michigan looks to end that drought, going up against Arizona and what's supposed to be the main event Saturday night, the 2-1 seeds.
Mm-hmm. Josh, when you look at these 2 games, Josh Graham joining Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports, out of the 2 games, is there a storyline that you see that you have yet to hear other people talk about that may make a major difference in the outcome and what we're going to see on Saturday?
Well, I just think we need to talk about the possibility of UConn winning the title. If they do, it's 3 titles in 4 years, which has not happened since the tournament expanded to 64 in 1985. It hasn't happened since 7 in a row for John Wooden. And this is going to be unpopular. Oh, well. Winning 3 out of 4 nowadays, much more impressive than winning 7 in a row then. Because it's a much shorter field. The first few rounds are regionalized. As we know, the East is more loaded with basketball talent than the West is, so you had favorable matchups. The West Coast hasn't won a national championship since 1997 when Arizona cut down nets. So I think if you in the modern day of basketball are able to win 3 national championships in a 4-year span, that's unlike anything else we've seen, and I don't think that's being talked about enough.
As far as Illinois goes, if they do get past UConn, because you mentioned it's not being talked about enough if UConn wins it.
Sure.
If Illinois gets past UConn, you mentioned the main event Saturday night, are we not giving Illinois enough credit that they may be able to beat either Michigan or Arizona, whoever wins that matchup on Saturday?
I think if you're Illinois, you'd want to draw Michigan.
Okay.
Because even though they lost in Champaign earlier this year, in a run-it-back setting, I think there's a lot you can do adjustment-wise when you're not as focused on knowing who the personnel is. And Brad Underwood is a fantastic coach. The way that he's recruited, we've seen schools dip their toe in the international waters. As a guy who loved geography growing up, man, I feel I'm learning new countries by just learning Brad Underwood's team.
Yeah.
And Illinois, I think he's done a marvelous job, and he deserves a lot of credit because he's 62, Brad Underwood. He's 39 years into this, and he's the one that has adapted. Generally, it's the younger guys that are better at adapting, or at least that's what they say. Brad Underwood has adapted a great deal despite being a guy who's been at this for a long time.
In NBA circles, there's something called Stash the Euro, where you select a European player who's a little bit younger, raw in the second round, and then you leave him over there, right? And then you decide later to either sell his draft rights or you bring him over. I feel like what they're doing at Illinois is the oppo, right? Like they are the team that's plucking from Euro to bring him over and to like have these players mature, and you are clearly seeing in the tournament that like that power makes a lot of sense to why they're here.
The development, these guys, they are further along than younger American
they're playing
players.
Professional,
exactly.
at like 16.
These are professional, and here's the other piece: they're cheaper generally than recruiting American players as well. So, from a budgetary perspective, if you want to compete with the big dogs, you win big international.
Okay, quickly before we let you go.
Yes.
What's the latest with North Carolina? Is it the loser or winner of the late Saturday night game that's going to get the gig, or is Billy Donovan still in play?
Billy Donovan is in play. I think Tommy Lloyd's the guy they want. And I think the way Tommy Lloyd has answered questions this week indicates that there's something there, and who knows? Maybe we have the Bonnie Bernstein, Roy Williams moment recreated again. Are you going to have interest in taking the North? I could give a flip about North Carolina right now, Bonnie.
He's not very good at hiding it, is Tommy Lloyd. Like
No.
he's not been very good at covering this up.
No, and his kids are grown. He's been a West Coast guy forever. Going to a place where basketball comes first, I think, is an appeal to a lot of people, and that job being open really for the first time in our lifetimes, that's going to be really appealing even to a guy like Tommy Lloyd.
All right, we got 30 seconds
Yes.
left. The rest of your day, you're sitting here in the convention center with us on Radio Row. When are you going to sleep? We've got dinner plans tonight. Are you coming to dinner? I'm expecting you to join.
I'm going to be at dinner tonight. I don't know when I'm going to sleep, but I know it's going to be in May extensively.
Okay, I'm concerned.
Thank you.
I feel like we should be tracking your stats.
Linnell's got a lot of solo shows
I mean,
coming up in May.
Hopefully Linnell's ready. I mean, my
Actually
God.
true. It's actually true.
I mean, jeez. All right, so thank you for stopping by. You're the best, and we'll see you at dinner later tonight.
Sounds
Joyce
like a plan.
Chestnut joining us next.
This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will be in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Live from Indianapolis in the Final Four, it's Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app, Sirius XM Channel 375, and all of our great radio affiliates around the country. You can call or text us today at 310-840-4910. Who's the most, who has made the most money in sports but accomplished less? We're talking about that because of Kirk Cousins signing with the Raiders. He's made $321 million in his career. He's never been any good. I mean, he's been average at best. So you can text the show, 310-840-4910. We're on until 3 Eastern. Bleck and Abdalla here with you, live from the Final Four. Michigan, Arizona, Illinois, and UConn. The city, the town is painted ready for the Final Four. Walking around last night, we got in after our drive down from Chicago, about 3 hours. It was quick. There was very little traffic. It took almost no time to get down here. Walked around the city. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, it was great. And I think that right now, you can feel the energy in the air for the Final Four. All the buses are here. All the people are here for the various teams. We saw the bands. We saw the team buses. We've seen various coaches. We've seen a bunch of things for the Final Four already set up.
Absolutely. Joey Chestnut now grabs a headset and sits down with Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. Joey, we are from Chicago. We have talked to you before. The last time we talked to you on our show, Adam compared you to the Michael Jordan of competitive eating.
Compared? I said he was. What do you compared? I said he is.
That was the comparison. Michael
Jordan.
Jordan.
He is. Yeah.
I guess it's not. I mean, of competitive eating.
Of competitive eating?
Yeah.
I've been really, really lucky. Longevity.
Yeah.
Not just winning once or twice, but able to, just dominate.
Do you know how many records you hold off the top of your head?
Ooh, I think it's like 55 or 56. I think somebody broke my donut record last year, so I have to.
Do you feel like? Do you know that? Do you feel like a change in the wind when that happens?
It hurts a little bit.
That?
Oh my God, I got to go back there and become. Yeah.
You know what's funny about that is there is knowing your own record is a part of the conversation today in sports because Victor Wembanyama keeps setting new records for what he's doing: blocks, rebounds, points. And his quote is like he knows and he's excited every time he breaks a new record that was held by like Shaquille O'Neal or Hakeem Olajuwon of the past. And it's refreshing to hear an athlete be like, oh, yeah, I know and I like it. You know, I feel like there's too many athletes today that are like, oh, I just show up or I don't really think of anything outside of the prep.
No, it's awesome. Like the other eaters, we bust each other's balls a little bit. they're like, that donut contest. Like, oh, you broke it. Like, you had good weather. My donuts were different.
Well, it's got to be like that because you see how the athletes, joke with like Charles Barkley, how he's got no titles and how like they always make fun of him. It's good to know that you guys have like a camaraderie and can do that and can make fun of each other and that kind of thing.
It's but it's still competition.
Yes.
When we go to that table, we're not friends. We're frenemies a little bit, and we're trying to push each other to each other's breaking point.
Joey Chestnut joining Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. That's interesting the way that you kind of lay that out. Are athletes today too nice? Because of all the free agency movement, AAU circuits for younger players, hearing that you're frenemies, that I like hearing that in competitive situations in any sport or other.
Are athletes too nice? I don't know. I think there's still a lot of competition. I think people, when the lights are on, I don't think. You see some hard hits in everything, like in college basketball.
Sure,
I was watching. There's. I don't think people are playing nice.
What's the best rivalry in sports to you?
Best rivalry in sports. Well, I grew up. I grew up in the Bay Area, so the Dodgers Giants has always been almost it's been visceral. They were not nice to each other. Yeah. The fans, it's not fun to see them. It's gone to a point where it's not fun.
Right.
With that rivalry, but oh my God, fights in the stands. It's wild. So that's a real rivalry. What other good rivalries we see in college? I think the best thing about college sports is it doesn't seem like it's angry. They're more friendly rivalries.
Yeah,
Yes.
because they've lasted a little bit longer and
Yeah.
they don't get as well. The drinking is usually before the game and not as much during
That's
the
changed
game.
over the
Yeah,
years.
it has. It has. When you compete with your frenemies, as you called them, is it always at sanctioned events, or will you ever get a text message that's like, "Hey, let's meet up at this restaurant and just have one for the love of the game"?
Oh yeah. Those you guys from Chicago. There's
Yeah.
Pat Bertoletti out of Chicago.
Yes.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Great competitive eater, and he always challenges me. Every time we go out to dinner, it ends up being some sort of contest. and if we're in Chicago, he brings me to places like I remember Maxwell's.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
We ended up eating like 20 of those the sausages. And he's like, oh, I'm going to beat you in this. He's like, well, he's eating the food he grew up eating,
Right,
So it's a
right.
little bit easier. But yeah, that guy always tries to turn it into a contest.
Joey Chestnut joining Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. What would your choice be if you could like have an edge and you brought someone to your spot? What would it be?
I mean, definitely a shrimp cocktail in St. Elmo. It's
Yeah.
easy. I usually blow people away.
We were there last night.
Yeah.
He was like face first into
I
the
love
shrimp
him.
cocktail.
I like the heat. I like it.
It
I don't
becomes
mind
addicting.
it. It does.
Because it hits so hard, then it
Yeah.
goes away, and then you're like, was I being a baby? You got to try it again.
It's more of a tolerance thing than anything.
The tolerance. And
I was the baby last night.
And then it's like being able to like expect it. Like don't be surprised by how hard
Yeah.
it hits. Like all right, it's kind of like things in life. Don't be caught off guard.
What's your white whale of competitions? The one that either you haven't done yet, or the one that you've tried, or the one that you need to seek out?
I've never done a real sushi roll eating contest.
Okay.
Or sushi, even any kind of sushi contest. I think I would love to do something in
It's a
Japan.
lot of rice.
Right? Yeah, it'd be cool though. I would love to go. I want to do more in other countries
Okay.
and just dominate.
Do you have like an end date in sight on how long you want to compete?
Ooh, I want to compete as long as I'm vertical.
Yeah.
Would you tell people and
Yeah.
do like a
No, but
like a
as long as I'm
farewell
healthy.
tour, like LeBron? We're all waiting for
Yeah,
LeBron
right,
to tell
right.
us whether or not, or Aaron Rodgers to tell us whether or not. Would you do like a farewell, guys? This is my final year. This is going to be the farewell tour. Or would you just kind of write like a notes?
I mean,
like a
could you
notes
imagine-
tweet and just say, guys, I'm out.
Could you imagine the scene for 4th of July?
Oh, man.
When people, if they knew it was your last.
I don't know. It's one of those things. As long as I'm winning, it's going to be really hard to. It's hard to retire on top. It's tough. So somebody's going to have to beat me and then beat me again.
Like it's more of a passing of the torch.
Yeah, you have
type
to
of
pass
thing.
the torch. Yeah,
absolutely.
But as long as I'm healthy, also, I've been putting more and more work into my health over the years.
Has the prep changed over the years as you've gotten older doing this? Is it more of like
Both.
obviously with runners and
Yeah,
as athletes as they get older, has the prep and what you go through and
I can't practice nearly as much. Like when I was younger, I could do a practice like every third day. Now it's like once a week, and then
Okay.
and then the recovery. Recovery is I have to eat super clean, no carbs, no sugar, and try to get back to my normal weight.
Joey Chestnut joining Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. What does the recovery look like after a big event?
It's not pretty. Some days I'll get a look in my eye and then I'm running. But no. I have to eat super high fiber. A lot of lettuce, cucumber, lemon. I'm trying to get everything moving through my body.
Right.
And then I love good beer. So if I start drinking beer the day after, then the weight stays on me. So that's why I have to really, really control everything I put in my body.
What don't you like? Because if I was a competitive eater, I don't like tomatoes. So if they were like, "Hey, tomato eating competition," I'd be like, "I can't. That's the one record I can't do because I don't like tomatoes." So what don't you like? What would you sit out?
There's oysters, raw oysters.
Okay.
I've been invited to that contest a couple times. I'm the texture, the saltiness. I feel like I just couldn't do a mass quantity of them.
Okay.
What's the next competition that you have scheduled?
Saturday I'll be eating chocolate cake.
Really?
That sounds like a good one.
So tomorrow I'll be doing my cleanse, get it nice and empty. But sponsored by Dude Wipes. I'll be eating chocolate cake in Tampa, and then cleaning off all the chocolate, all the brown off.
That's amazing. Joey Chestnut hanging out with Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. So, Joey, here for the Final Four this weekend, Saturday. We got the two games taking place. What are you looking forward to most between Illinois, UConn, Michigan, and Arizona this weekend?
My bracket has Arizona winning.
Same here.
All right, yeah.
I had Illinois making it all the way to the Final Four, so I'm happy that yeah, I think of all the celebrities, I think I might be number one still.
That's pretty good.
My best bracket, but it's yeah, I'm really happy. Dude, I was just in Arizona not too long ago, and dude, their fans are they're pumped.
Yeah, they're ready for it.
Oh yeah, they're ready, and as long as Michigan, we'll see. We're gonna see. I'm excited.
Gonna be a great one.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good game tomorrow.
And I see that you brought some shrimp cocktail from St.
yeah.
Elmo's for us.
St. Elmo's
so
shrimp
thank
cocktail. It'll light you up a little bit.
Awesome. Thank
It's
you,
great.
Joey. We really appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by.
Absolutely. Great being on with you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Joey Chestnut, the greatest competitive eater in the history of the world. How
American
about that?
hero.
See? There you go. American hero. Thank you for stopping by. There's Joey Chestnut hanging out with Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. So, Abdalla, I mean, we talked about it the last time that we were with Joey, and we talked to him. I mean, when you look at the all-time greats in sports, people know who he is because he does not lose.
Yeah.
And he's great at competitive eating.
Yeah, and I think it's great that he's got the camaraderie with his competitors, but also they'll just go out and eat for the love of the game and start up like a competition. I would hate to be the proprietor of that establishment when they come in and it's like, oh God, we're staying late tonight.
I love that. Hey, you just want to go crush some sausage sandwiches.
Yeah, and it's like,
at
oh
Max's,
no,
at Maxwell's,
oh no,
in Chicago. I
Yeah.
mean, yes, absolutely. Get the grilled onions on there, a little mustard, a little spicy mustard on that.
Oh man. But yeah, I think that if it would be, I understand the texture thing with the I like oysters, but I don't know if I could eat that many to win a competition.
My no fly zone would be it would be mayonnaise. So if you were fixing up something that was slopped in mayonnaise, I would have to say no thank you, because I just can't. That's the one food that I get it. Like here's
like
what's
tuna
weird.
sandwiches and stuff like that. Okay, there it is.
Or the chicken salad sandwich. Like
chicken salad.
Why?
Yeah.
Like here's what I don't get. Don't tell me it's a like they say it's a salad, a chicken salad, a tuna salad, or whatever it is, and it's just slopped in mayonnaise. That's disgusting.
Well, it's not a salad, because to me a salad has to be.
It's a chicken salad sandwich.
It's not a
just
salad,
mayonnaise.
though, but
it's a chicken mayonnaise.
It's
sandwich.
not a salad because it doesn't have a lot of lettuce in it. It's mostly celery and chicken, and like some people put like raisins or like a cranberry or something in it. Some people put apples in it. That's not a salad. A salad is lettuce based, and then you put various things on top of the lettuce based.
But
that's not a salad.
So here's what I want to say about mayonnaise. As we
let me get back to shut up you. Let me get back to the mayonnaise.
I just want to make sure we get it on the record for the camera. My thoughts on mayonnaise. Here's the thing. I understand how to make it. I've made it before. I get the ingredients. Like if we sat down and we made mayonnaise here.
Yes.
The different ingredients, the egg, the oil, salt and pepper.
All of it,
and we make it. I've got no problem with it.
Okay.
It's the like canned or the jar of mayonnaise that's been sitting at the grocery store.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know, the one that perhaps is whipped.
Hellman's?
Yeah, and that one too.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like that's, it's just, I can't do that. There's something about it mentally that I just can't get past.
Along the same vein, ranch.
Well, but okay.
Ranch.
But if people don't know, that ranch is made with buttermilk and mayonnaise.
Yeah.
So it's just a mayonnaise sauce.
But I like chicken salad.
See, that's weird. But like, do you understand? You understand?
Yeah.
Ranch is just
I get
spices, buttermilk, and mayonnaise.
I get it.
So it's just a mayonnaise
but
sauce.
I don't dip my buffalo wings in ranch. I don't like it.
Yeah, neither do I. I don't ranch.
No.
It's not something. The only ranch I do, Cool Ranch. Cool Ranch Doritos.
Doritos, yeah.
Those
I don't
taste
like
good.
I don't like them. Not for me.
The Cool Ranch Doritos?
Not for me. Not for me.
You go spicy nacho.
Yeah. What is that? The red bag?
It's like the dark red.
Yeah, red bag. Red bag.
Red bag.
They had like a
Is that the red bag?
They had like a yellow spicy mustard one. I found those like a year or two ago. Whoo, those are fire. Can't find them anymore.
No, you can't. So that's my thought on mayonnaise. Go kick rocks.
Okay.
Mayonnaise. Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app, sponsored by Warner, the official ladder of NCAA March Madness and the official ladder of construction professionals everywhere. Conquer new heights with Warner, available nationally at Lowe's. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. You can call or text us at 310-840-4910. Hey, maybe there's a food item that you just mentally can't get past. Like, that's what I'm saying. Is like, I like everything that goes into making mayonnaise. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I know how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't do it.
Yeah, like for me, it's blue cheese. Can't do a blue cheese.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people that like blue cheese really bothers them.
Can't do it.
The whole concept of like the cheese is just moldy.
Yeah, blue cheese.
And that's
not
what
for
we're
me.
eating. There are people who can. I love blue cheese. I think it's delicious, but I understand why people don't like that.
But that shrimp cocktail last night,
woo, baby.
We
got it right here. We got two of them right here. You take them down.
In it. I was in it.
I had two last night. The first one just smacked me right in the face.
A lot of horseradish.
Yes, it is.
That is a lot.
Just eat the horseradish.
No.
Don't do the little shrimp.
That is more than I would put on mine.
Take a taste.
Take a taste? That's been out for a while.
Unreal. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. We'll continue to preview the NCAA tournament live from Indianapolis in the Final Four. James Jones, head coach at Yale, is expected to join us. And also Kevin Kruger is expected to join us, assistant to the head coach at Illinois. So we will continue to preview the NCAA tournament. Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. So who does James Jones think will win the NCAA tournament? We'll ask him when we come back.
The weather is heating up, and so is the sports calendar. We are your home of the Final Four, the Masters, and the NFL Draft, taking you inside the sports you care about. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Broadcasting live from Indianapolis in the Final Four, Radio Row. Bleck and Abdalla hanging out with you here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Ross Sharon produces the show out of Colorado, parts unknown each and every day. And now Raj gets to join us once again, Bleck and Abdalla, in the Midwest. But we're in the Eastern time zone today, not in Chicago, in Indy. Hello, Raj. What's up?
Hello. Fellas, if you saved one of those shrimp cocktail deals for me, I would love one.
Oh,
yeah.
We got two of them right here.
All right, I'm in on that. All right, want to play a little over-under, take a little break from food talk?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, wait, hold on. That sounded like a shot.
Wow.
It was. You didn't appreciate the food
yes,
talk?
because you took a shot on my favorite condiment, mayonnaise.
Oh, Raj.
Bro.
Raj.
That's a
I will
tough
say,
look.
I will say, I love the tangy zip of Miracle Whip. Okay,
Oh,
so it is a
Raj.
tough one too. But you all took shots.
Tough look. Tough look for Raj.
Shots.
Yeah.
Shots. All right, here we go. Over or under half of a headbutt by Dan Hurley to an official, coach, or teammate during the Final Four.
All right, Raj, a little over-under. I'm going to go under that because I think that the media attention to the forehead graze, is that what we want to call it? It wasn't necessarily a headbutt. It was a let's touch our foreheads together ever so slightly on the sideline.
Kiss.
I feel like too many people made something out of it, so I don't think he'll go back to that well again. So I'm going to go under.
Yeah, I'm going to go under unless it, he doesn't like headbutt his players. Like, I
Well,
think.
what if he's deep in passion on the sideline for a great play?
No, I think.
What if he
it's-
wants to rub that forehead right on the other
Easy, buddy.
forehead?
It's under.
Same
Oh, my
forehead.
God.
What do you
It's
mean?
under.
Nice.
It's under.
I didn't say
under.
shrimp cocktail.
What is in
Under.
that shrimp cocktail today?
You don't
My
want to know.
Goodness.
Certainly not mayonnaise.
See what happens when we're not in a studio, Raj?
Under.
I'm finding out very, very quickly here.
Under. He's learned his lesson after the backlash from the media and the referee community. Did you see that Gene Steratore commented on it, and people are mad because he didn't have a problem with it, and people are mad at Gene Steratore. Like, other refs are mad at Gene Steratore.
It's
so
a tough
funny.
gig being Gene.
It's so
nobody
funny.
likes
Like,
Gene.
other refs
Everybody's
are
always
mad
at Gene.
that refs aren't defending other refs. It's like, guys, are you the, like, between everything that's gone on with ABS and refs, there's like, are there a softer group of people than the officiating community?
We, Raj, on our drive down,
listening
to about an hour and a half of Rome yesterday before we lost him on the local Chicago affiliate that we were playing in the rental car. He was just torching. What was it, CJ
Buckner?
CJ Buckner. Rome was hilarious yesterday on it, and yeah, it's a bad moment for refs.
Oh my gosh!
More like can't see Buckner.
when he said that yesterday, both Abdalla and I, we were not talking at this moment of the car ride. We both just bursted out laughing, and I looked at him and I go, that's why Rome's the best. I'm like, that was fire, man. That's 100 miles per hour on the edge. That was good from Rome. That was awesome. I love that.
I love it. All right, next up in over-under, guys. Michigan's margin of victory so far in the tournament is just about 23 points per game. So I cut that in half to get this number. Michigan will score over or under 12.5 more points than Arizona. Bleck?
I'm gonna go under. This is going to be a 1-point game. This is going to be a end of possession at the very end bucket to win by 1. I don't know which side. I think this is going to be a classic. I think it's going to give us what we are looking for after the UConn-Duke matchup as an all-time classic in the tournament.
Duke.
I think Michigan-Arizona will be that on Saturday night.
I'm also going to go under. Vegas always knows.
What do they
They
know?
always know.
What do they have for us?
It's weird that when Vegas always, they're like, well, how do they know that this is going to be a 5-point game? And then it comes down to it, and we're like, the margin of victory, it's like a 6 or 7-point game. You're like, how do they always know? So, yeah, I'm definitely going to go under. I don't know if this is going to be a 1-point game, but I think it's going to come down to, a single possession, like a 2-point game, a 3-point game, and then they're going to foul back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and something like that. I think it's going to be less. I think this is going to be Michigan's toughest test, obviously, in the tournament so far. So, yeah, I'm going to go under as well. I don't think this is going to be a cakewalk for Michigan like we've seen so far in the earlier stages of the tournament. Raj.
All right, next up, guys, this is math even we can do. There's 4 teams, and typically
it's a Bleck Abdalla show. I don't know.
That's true. That is true. Typically, about 25% per school make up the crowd at the Final Four. However, the cost of tickets is going up, and up, and the reason, the Illini fans making the short trip, as you guys did, from Illinois to Indiana. So I ask, Illinois fans will make up over or under 35% of the fans at the Final Four. Abdalla?
I am going to say, man, that's a good number. I'm going to say over. No, because I'm trying to because what I was trying to figure out is the stall tactic was, so the Illinois game is first, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the Illinois game's first. I'm going to say over. And then I was trying to figure out which team they will then support in the second game. Like, which team are they going to then get behind?
A rival?
Like, are they going to start cheering for Michigan because they want Michigan, or are they going to start cheering for? Well, it's based on the matchup. Who do they want to face in the champion? If they win, who do they want to face in the championship game? Who do they start getting loud for in or against in the second game?
I think it's rooting against Michigan
because they want Arizona.
Raj, I don't know if you're familiar with this. Maybe some around the country are not. For the University of Illinois, they have a saying in regards to Michigan.
I am
saying,
unaware
right,
of any sayings when it comes to the University of Illinois.
Yeah,
so enlighten all of us.
Well, yeah, it starts with an F. Abdalla, right? Correct?
Oh,
I can get creative.
And then Michigan is after.
Is it muck?
Boy, Raj.
We muck it up.
The shrimp cocktail
Easy.
there.
Easy,
My
pal.
We muck it up. We get dirty.
So Raj,
We get dirty.
There is T-shirts. It's a thing for Illinois fans.
Yeah.
To dislike Michigan at the highest possible
I thought
level.
I thought it was a comment about Sweet Ann Arbor.
Yeah. So with
And
that
what she
said,
likes to do.
yeah, Raj. So my answer to you, Raj, would be because of that, I think they will be rooting against Michigan in the second game if they win the first game. I can't see
I
Illini
thought that they
fans
would have a
rooting.
better time with. I thought that they would have an easier matchup with Michigan.
That might be the case, but the fan base hates Michigan with a passion. With a passion. So I think that will come into play. I think they will be against Michigan.
Okay.
All right, guys, moving to the NFL, I had a Francisco Mendoza question, which I later thought, wait a minute, who's Francisco Mendoza? It's Fernando Mendoza, brain fart. However, I had to throw that one out because the Raiders were in the news today signing Kirk Cousins. So the adjusted question is over or under 8.5 starts this season from Kirk Cousins for the Raiders. Abdalla.
It has to be under, right? I can't in good conscience think that this team would, but then it's the Raiders, and then you have to put that factor into it, so maybe it's over. I'm still going to say under. I have to think that with Tom Brady, who apparently Kubiak said they talk all the time, right? They're texting buddies. So I would say you got to go under. You have to think that this has to be a better run franchise. You have to think that right now, this team, they invested in their offense. They spent a ton of money on a center. They're bringing Kirk Cousins in as a mentor, maybe to start a few games, just so Mendoza can watch the speed of the game or whatever, which is weird, but okay. I'm still going to say under.
Raj, I'm going under. It is so unrealistic to have the number 1 draft pick not play at all. So, and I can't see the Raiders winning games. I think Abdalla just said that. And so, because of that, Cousins, the appetite to get Mendoza in there to get reps and to figure out whether or not he's the guy. We know he's the number 1 pick, but we don't know if he can play in the NFL. And the sooner the Raiders know that helps their future. Because if you can figure out that the guy's the guy early on, then you can make moves and go for it, because then your window's wide open to chase championships. So I don't see 9 games. There's no way. He won't play. He won't go over the 8.5. It'll go under.
Raj, when we get this
$20 million for less than 9 starts.
Save this question for when we get the schedule released, and we can ask it again when we find out when their bye week is.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Because if their bye week is like week 7, it's definitely under. Because if that's their plan to just like wait, and then we'll see how he is at the bye week, and then we'll start him, then I think it'll be under. But if their bye week is like week, 9 or week 10, like maybe they wait even longer. I don't know. You're right. $20 million's a lot of money to have a guy sit on the bench for the entire year just in case. But Bryce Young learned a lot for the few weeks he was sitting on the bench after they pulled him and then he came back in. It's just a weird way to develop a quarterback. And I feel like the Bryce Young thing was out of desperation. Like, they didn't want to do that. They wanted him to start from day 1, which is what he did. And then they were like, this kid needs to sit for a little bit and then go back in. So, I don't know. I just think it's a weird way to do it. Raj?
And finally, fellas, we'll mix a little baseball in here.
Raj?
Over or under 43.5 wins for your Chicago White Sox, coming off a 10-0 loss to the Miami Marlins yesterday. They are now 1-5. If you want a little bit of reference, the White Sox of 2024 won 41 games. The worst team in baseball last year was my Rockies. They won 43 games. So that's where I got to 43.5 wins for your and Jerry Reinsdorf's Chicago White Sox. Bleck?
I'm going to go over just because the process of intentionally losing is no longer there. Now, they don't have the talent, but some of these young players, Colson Montgomery and others, they clicked last year, and hopefully in year 2, we see towards the second half of the season, maybe this team could be frisky. Not going to win a lot of games. They're not going to make the wild card. They're not going to do anything of note. But if they're a team that's winning, 2 out of 4, going 500 in the final 2 months of the season in most series, I'll take that.
I got to wait till it's hot outside. That ball is flying out of the yard. Wait till it's warm and sticky out in Chicago. And that ball starts jumping out of Rate Field or whatever they're calling it. Out of Rate Field, out of the Rate.
The Rate.
Right now, fewest regular season wins, the Colorado Rockies minus 330 on DraftKings, the Chicago White Sox plus 500 at the next one.
Our
the
teams are in a race to the bottom, Abdalla.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to go, I'm going to go over 43.5 wins for the White Sox because I agree with you. Eventually, they'll figure this out and they'll get a few more wins because I do think they'll start to hit better once the weather changes.
And Raj, because you asked, 2 White Sox fans hosting this national radio show.
Come on, bro.
I just want it to be on the record that we are just waiting for 2033 or other for Justin Ishbia.
Yeah,
to
you
take the
guys
club
explained to me what other was. when we were at
I
Super
just
Bowl.
want to
know
make
what you're
sure
alluding
that
to.
everyone on the record.
Chris would call it a conflict.
I just want to make sure everyone understands that White Sox fans, the few of us that are around the nation,
We're proud.
We're just waiting out Jerry. And we're hoping for that day,
Or 2033.
the Justin Ishbia reign for the ball club to start any day now. Any day he wants to take over.
Yep.
Because that's what's out there, is that Ishbia will take over the club, if not before, by 2033. So,
Counting the
Raj,
days.
since you asked, the team stinks right now. We're just waiting for Ishbia. Just waiting for the billionaire. That's it.
I just wish we had our Ishbia here in Colorado. That does it for Over
Ishbia.
Under. Thanks,
Wishbia.
guys. I would be
Raj-
Wishbia for an Ishbia.
Raj, thank you. What a great over-under with Raj. I love it. From Parts Unknown in Colorado. Supporting mayonnaise.
Disgusting.
I just... The hottest
Love
take I've
Miracle
heard
Whip,
from
though.
Raj.
The tangy zip, man, is just, love it.
God, man.
We were talking about some of the worst, or the players in sports history
Yeah.
who've signed big contracts but accomplished nothing. We have a texter from the 585 in Rochester, New York. Ben Simmons, career earnings $203 million. In the texter says he's a bigger bum than Kirk Cousins.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
fair.
of course, he
Yeah.
absolutely is.
Like that. I agree.
I never really understood the selection of a player in the NBA that high who cannot shoot.
Yeah.
When you can't shoot, there's like, who's the one guy in league history who got away with not being able to shoot whatsoever and turned into a Hall of Famer? It was Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
That's it. Dennis Rodman was a Hall of Fame player without shooting the basketball.
Different league.
Rebounding, defense, passing,
You can't play that way anymore,
tenacity, the ability to get in the opponent's head. Dennis Rodman's the only one.
Yeah.
If you can't shoot in the NBA, you can't play. So that's a good text. And you can always text the show, 310-840-4910. Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Bill Self is returning to Kansas. What does this mean for the rest of college basketball? And North Carolina searching for their head coach still. We'll talk about that next.
The NFL Draft is less than a month away, and we will take you behind the curtain, literally live from Pittsburgh for the 2026 Draft, with exclusive interviews of your team's picks from your home of the NFL, Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Last night it was announced that Bill Self will return to Kansas. It was a storyline we've been watching here in college basketball as the season wraps up. You know, potentially, could Kansas open up and look for a new head coach? We know North Carolina is still looking. Dusty May and Tommy Lloyd will face off here in the Final Four this weekend. Illinois and Arizona and UConn and Michigan. And so Michigan, Arizona, maybe the winner of that game or the loser of that game takes the North Carolina job. We talked to Josh Graham last hour, and he told us that he thinks Tommy Lloyd is still the favorite for the job, and that's the guy that North Carolina wants. So, Abdallah, when we look at the coaching situation, Bill Self will return to Kansas. It's Bleck and Abdalla live from the Final Four in Indianapolis. Self back to Kansas.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, you know, he took some time and was very vague about it, and he's had some health issues that have been documented, and I think that, you know, it was either retire or return. It's not like he was going to go take another job or anything like that, but I think that if he had it in him to coach another however many years he wants to, he's going to. And Kansas had an unfortunate early exit from this tournament for them, and I think that if he's still got it in him to navigate this NIL world of college basketball, I think that you're seeing a lot of veteran coaches kind of just say, I'm not dealing with this anymore. You know, like I keep bringing up Nick Saban, who just right before the season started, not right before, but pretty close to it, was just like, nah, I'm out. I'm not dealing with this anymore. I'm not dealing with NIL. Like he was older. I mean, he's an older guy. He's been, coaching for a long time, but it was just like, I'm not dealing with NIL. I'm out. This is a younger man's game. And you've seen coaches that don't want to deal with the transfer portal, like Tom Izzo in college basketball, but he still has NIL players, and obviously you have to if you want to compete at all in college basketball. But you have to recruit, and then you also have to keep recruiting your own players and keep them happy so they don't bounce to the next school, and you have to watch teams in the tournament, and if you see a player at a smaller school, you have to like actively recruit them to come to your school next year, and that's why we're not seeing Cinderellas, and it's a different game. It's a completely different game than what these guys are used to. And so if Self wants to come back, this was a job that I thought in Kansas that if Self left, like there would be a domino effect of the North Carolina job. Like if North Carolina and Kansas were open,
right,
and then you have maybe, obviously Arizona potentially being open, maybe Michigan potentially being open, that all of these jobs, potentially 3 or 4 of these jobs being open at the same time, that any of these guys could have taken it. May could have taken it from Michigan, could take the North Carolina job. Tommy Lloyd from Arizona, that means Arizona would be open. Kansas being open. What would Billy Donovan from the Bulls, who's still up for potentially the North Carolina job, what would that mean? Not necessarily for the Bulls, but like, how does that affect what these other schools do? But now, Kansas not being vacant kind of changes the landscape of things a little bit.
Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. Pollen season is here, but a dirty car doesn't have to be. Wash it away with Tidal Wave Auto Spa for a quick wash and that clean car happy feeling. Find a location at TidalWaveAutospa.com. When you say it's a young man's game, I know that we're talking college basketball and we're live here at the Final Four. There is one name that jumps out to me that is that example. Young man's game, recruiting, and today's era of college sports. And that's Dan Lanning at Oregon. To me, like, his mindset and his aggression to being great and coaching and chasing the recruits and being able to stay on those who are committed to keep them at your school, that's what I picture. When you say it's a young man's game in college basketball or college football nowadays, that's who I think of. Mm-hmm. I think of Dan Lanning because I think that's exactly what this sport is now. On either side, football or basketball, that's just what college athletics are. And you're right, someone like Self, and like, I understand how it works. Like, Bill Self is the closer, right? Like, these big-time college coaches, they're not the ones that are having to text and retext and communicate each and every day with all of these different recruits, mm-hmm. right? These 17 and 18-year-olds who are still deciding where they want to go, and one day they make a decision, and then it's wishy-washy, and then jumping in the portal. What am I doing? Like, that's what the assistants are doing.
Yeah,
that's how it works. Even though that it's the job of those individuals to do that, mm-hmm. I think that's where when you see it, and you see like Bill Self, he probably is sick of not knowing what he's going to have as a roster from one year to the next, and I think that, for them, it's probably a pain in the butt, but it's also, as a fan, I think it's diluted a little bit. I know the numbers have been great for this year's NCAA tournament, and people watch a lot of college football. It's the number 2 watched sport in all of the country. But I used to know that if Adam Morrison didn't advance in the tournament with Gonzaga back in the day, it was like, well, he's still got 2 more years, and he's going to be back. And can he and Mark Few get it done next year, right? Mm-hmm. Like, the fact that we really don't know any of these players, if they're committed for next season, I think it hurts the sport overall.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you don't have NIL in the transfer portal, you don't get stories like Indiana football. You just don't. You don't get Curt Cignetti turning around a program in 2 years and taking them to a national championship and winning a national championship against a storied, traditionally not necessarily a powerhouse, but Miami has had a lot of success in the past and used to be able to say, hey, we're Miami, come to our school, we're one of the best teams in Florida, and used to be able to just go and recruit Florida kids. Like, that used to be the way to do it, is either you went to Miami or you went to Florida. That was it. And now it doesn't matter where you're from or what you want to do, where you end up. It's just a matter of who's got the most money and where you're going to go. If you grew up in Alabama, it used to just be Alabama or Auburn. Now it's just, okay, well, if Georgia's got the most money, or Florida's got the most money, or if Texas has got the most money, or if USC's got the most money, I'm going to end up going there. There's no allegiances anymore. And if one year USC's got the most money and the next year Alabama's got the most money, I'm going to go there. And if the next year Michigan's got the most money, I'm going to go over there. We've seen it before where recruits end up saying they're going to go to one school and then flipping and going back to decommit and then go back to the other school.
Yeah.
So it's all over the place, and it allows, yes, you're right. You used to be able to see students and coaches try to do it again next year and try to say, well, this guy will be back in the tournament next year, or this quarterback will try to do it again at this school next year. And then it's basically free agency now for quarterbacks and other players. But you also don't get, we wouldn't have been able to talk about what could arguably be the greatest turnaround in sports history with Indiana making a national championship and winning that national championship in just 2 years with Cignetti.
I guess the bigger question for sports fans is, what is the better outcome? Was that worth it? Like, I get it. No, seriously, I get your point.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful story. It's one of the best college football stories I've ever been able to watch. The fact that Indiana won a national title. It's so cool.
Yeah.
But is that better than the way it used to be, where kids did stay? I don't know.
I will tell you that
because you're right. You don't get that Indiana story. You don't get that if the transfer portal didn't exist.
The majority of people will. I think if you walked around and asked the majority, don't do it here in this state of Indiana where we are for the Final Four, because they'll tell you it would be 99%.
Oh yeah,
Indiana. But I think the majority of people will tell you that they like this better, because how many years did we see Alabama, or other schools win it because they were just you could just recruit better, and NIL was under the table. And it wasn't reported, and they just got away with it. And other schools just got away with it. And there was SEC dominance, or there was a USC dominance, or there was whatever school was dominating, just had the most under-the-table money, or was just the best at recruiting. Now it's an open playing field, and you've even said it. You can win anywhere. Yeah. Lane Kiffin didn't need to leave Ole Miss to go to LSU. He could have stayed and won there, but he wanted the bigger paycheck. He wanted the bigger stage, so he went to LSU. And now, guess what? You've got to win there pretty quickly, because any booster or any school can go, look at what Cignetti did in Indiana. You're here at LSU. You've got to do it too. So I think unless you're a fan of one of the previous powerhouses, like Georgia, Alabama, Texas, whatever, you can say it's better the old way because we were winning the old way. And if you're not, you're going to say the new way's better because everybody's got a chance now.
Bleck Abdalla, sponsored by Call Rail. Call Rail helps over 225,000 businesses see exactly what marketing makes their phone ring. Stop guessing and start winning with Call Rail. So coming up in about 15 minutes, we will talk with Kevin Kruger from the Illinois head coaching staff. He's the assistant to the head coach, Brad Underwood, so he'll join us. You know, his father, Lon Kruger, was at Illinois for a very long time, a lot of success. So he will join us to help us preview the Illini against the Huskies, Game 1 of the NCAA Tournament, Final Four here in Indy. So we're looking forward to that in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, should be great. Can't wait for that.
It's Bleck Abdalla here live from the Final Four. We're having a blast. I'm glad that we were able to drive down here and avoid running out of gas on the way, Abdalla. It's
I was scared. I wasn't going to push the car. You were going to have to push the car or walk to the gas station. That was going to be the issue.
Kirk Cousins signs with the Raiders. We break that down coming up next.
This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
We are live from Indianapolis in the Final Four, hanging out with you today and tomorrow here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. We've got you covered all day long. Brad Evans is here, so the night show will be here. Josh Graham is here. Josh Graham has still yet to go to sleep. Josh Graham joined us 2 hours ago. Check it out on the podcast, Bleck Abdalla, on Apple, Spotify, and Odyssey. Make sure you check that out. But Josh is here. He will host his show tonight from this location here on Radio Row.
Are they going to let him?
Yeah, he is. That's why I just asked him that he will be on the air until 3 a.m. Eastern from this room. And so I don't know who else is going to be here with Josh.
Well,
I love it.
He
I love it.
He might like hide in that. There's like a closet over there where they have all the equipment. I figured he would just hide in there.
Well, have you ever seen like when people go to malls,
yeah,
and then they try and hide out in the mall,
exactly,
and stay overnight? I feel like that's what Josh is going to do here.
Yes, he's going to wait till everybody leaves in that closet, and then the door will open. He'll walk out, and then he'll just set up.
It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app, SiriusXM Channel 375, all of our great radio affiliates around the country. We're on the air until 3 Eastern, and then Jim Rome will take over right here on Westwood One Sports. The caller text line is 310-840-4910. In about 10 minutes, Kevin Kruger from Illinois will join us, the assistant to the head coach. He'll talk a little Illini basketball, help us preview the Fighting Illini and the Huskies, the first game on Saturday here in the Final Four as Bleck Abdalla broadcasts live from Indianapolis. And the sights and the scenes here in Indy, the town is ready. And if there is one town in America that's not Las Vegas that is perfect for hosting big-time events, it's Indy. This place, you can walk everywhere. It's all very centrally located to the hotels, to the restaurants. And if the weather is bad, the weather's great today, but if the weather's bad, you can kind of navigate all within the halls. Like you can connect everything. Hotels, convention center, stadium, it all connects.
Yeah, we're in the convention center right now where the fan festival is going to take place, but right outside of that, they're setting up the stage where they're going to have like all the concerts and stuff like that on Friday and Saturday. And then obviously on Sunday too, because it's like a whole weekend of stuff that fans can attend in between the games on Saturday and then the national championship game on Monday. And you're right, I was here for this is my first Final Four in Indianapolis, but I was here for the national championship game between Alabama and Georgia. And it was kind of the same, obviously that's one day, not a whole weekend of events, but it was kind of the same experience, except it wasn't 65 and beautiful like it is today. No. It was about 2 degrees, and it was the same feeling though, because you were only outside for a few minutes, walking from place to place, and everything else was connected by walkways, because the city does such a good job of having everything so close together. The fan experience outside is nice because it's great outside today, and it's right across the street from the fan convention that's going on right here. It's right next door to Lucas Oil Stadium where the games are going to be taking place, which is a great stadium. If you've never been to that stadium, it's awesome for football games. It's awesome for basketball games where they're going to be having the Final Four. The setup looks great last time they had it here. Like, it's great. It's a great hosting city. When the Super Bowl was here, it was a great hosting city. So Indianapolis knows how to host events.
Okay, I was unaware. So you and I walked by the stage being set for the
what are we going to go see?
The music festival.
Yeah, what are we going to go see?
The March Madness Music Festival here in downtown Indy.
Who are we going to?
That's exact. Yeah. Okay. So we watched them setting it up, and we're like, I wonder who they're performing. So I've covered. This is now my 4th Final Four that I've been to. The last time I was here in Indy for a Final Four was the year that Kentucky had Karl Anthony Towns and Willie Cauley-Stein.
Okay.
I think that was also the same year Wisconsin made the Final Four.
Okay.
So that was a good Final Four. And that year, I don't remember the act, but I was at a Final Four in Houston where on the Friday night before the games, Pitbull performed.
Mr. Worldwide.
Mr. 305, Mr. Worldwide. He was outstanding.
Dale, all right.
He was good. He was good. All right. Here's the lineup for Friday and Saturday and Sunday from the Fan Festival here in Indy.
Lay it on me.
Friday night, the headliner, 21 Pilots.
Oh, that's a real headliner.
That's a big act,
right? They'd like headline Lollapalooza.
Yeah, right. That's a big deal.
They were like an early band, but yes.
Saturday,
dusk band, yes.
Saturday. Here's the lineup. The doubleheader you get is Russell Dickerson
Okay.
country artist.
Okay.
You're not familiar?
No, I think so.
And
Yes.
Zach Brown Band.
I know who that is.
Yeah, so Zach Brown Band Saturday night is the headliner.
Yes, okay.
He goes on the stage at 8:10 Eastern.
Okay, all right, I like that.
Won't we be in the second game, Arizona-Michigan, at that time?
Regardless.
Okay. And then Sunday, the day in between the Final Four and the championship game.
You got, if you're a fan and you're here, that's your day.
It's a day.
It's a day.
Megan Maroney.
Okay.
Up first.
I like
at
that.
6:15 Eastern, followed by Post Malone.
Posty?
Post Malone, yeah.
Oh, I'm going to go get a spot right now.
Abdalla's going to go get in line for Post Malone 3 days early.
Got to get a spot.
How about that? All right, so you got Post
That's a great lineup.
Right?
For
Like-
free? What's
I
the cost of
think
that?
so.
Free?
I think so.
Free $99?
Yeah, it costs. Free for all ages.
Free $99?
No ticket or registration required. You just have to be here.
You just got to go?
Yeah. So that's what we saw getting set up. So you got
Okay.
21 Pilots. You got Zach Brown Band, Megan Maroney, Post Malone. That's a great lineup.
I might stay now.
I'm glad that we were able to get down here because we almost had an issue driving down. Yesterday we left after the show. It's about a 3-hour drive with traffic. The apps tell you it could take like 3:30, 3:40 to go from Chicago to Indy. The Bleck Abdalla show, we knew we would be closer to 3.
Yeah.
The way the advanced metrics that we would suggest that it would not take 3.5 hours to get down here. But along the way, we tried to risk it. We ran into an issue where the car was almost on empty when we picked it up from the rental place in the morning, and we just tried to go. We just went, man. And along the way, Abdalla looked at me and said, we've hit empty. And how long do you think we got until we actually have no more gas left? And I was like, I don't know, maybe 20 miles, 30 miles. I don't know this car that we're in. I don't know. It's not the one we're used to.
It's not my car. So when we picked up the rental car, the guy said there's no gas in it. And I was like, well, that's weird. He's like, well, just return it also with no gas. And I was like, okay, that's fine. There's about an eighth of a tank left. It said 40 miles.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, that can get us outside of Chicago. That can get us into the great state of Indiana where gas is cheaper. And I'm going to be filling up the tank, so I can do that. I can get us at least into one of the villes, Maryville, Cherville. One of the two villes, right? They're right by each other.
A northwest Indiana
suburb.
Town, suburb.
Yeah,
yes.
Whatever you want to call it. I don't know which one's closer to Chicago, either Maryville or Cherville.
They're near each other.
They're near each other.
Yes.
I know one of the Irvilles is
and
there.
For people, the context is there are people who live there who commute to downtown Chicago daily.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just a part of,
Absolutely.
it's normal.
Yes. So I was like, we can make
We weren't that far away.
We can make it there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you were in agreement. You're like, that'll get us there.
I wasn't worried.
You weren't worried. And so we start driving, and we're getting there, and we're paying the tolls and whatnot, and all of a sudden...
We're having a blast.
We're having a blast.
We're
and all of a
listening
sudden,
to Rome roast the umpires.
C.B. Buckner.
In Major League Baseball. He was on fire.
More like can't see Buckner.
It was great. What
Boom,
a line.
roasted.
I loved it. It was great. He was on fire yesterday.
Yeah.
It was outstanding.
It was
to listen
hilarious.
to.
And then all of a sudden, I noticed that, like in my vehicle, the gas, how much you have in your tank, goes down by the mile. So, like, if I had 40 miles, it would go to 39 miles.
Yeah,
And then it would go to 38 miles.
Of course.
And then it would go to 37 miles.
Sure.
This went from 40 to 30.
Oh, it was a big jump.
It was a big jump.
And then sat there for a while.
And then it sat at 30, and I was like, that's not cool. And then all of a sudden, it went from 30 to the gas light went on. And it said, you're on empty.
It
and
said
I looked,
zero.
It said zero.
It said
just
zero.
went zero.
How
And
long could we ride it on zero?
I went to Chris, and I go, how much cushion do you think we have in this mobile? And you said, I don't know, like 10 miles. And I'm like, that's not going to get us to Maryville.
How long
It's
can we
absolutely
push it?
not going to get us to Maryville. And so we just risked it, and then you looked it up. It said there was a gas station 2 miles away.
Yeah.
We drove
could
right.
roll there.
We drove right past that gas station because there was not an exit.
You missed the exit.
Nope, I did not miss it. Despite Apple Maps saying there was an exit, that was a phantom exit. There was no exit there.
Okay, you know what it was? I think it was one of those things where like two parts of the highway merged.
Yeah.
And on the other highway that we weren't on
Yes.
had an exit.
Yeah, but not our highway.
What we were on did not have an exit.
Not our highway, and so we could not exit. Then you were like, all right, 3 miles to the next exit. There was no gas station at that exit, so we had to keep going.
Yikes.
3 more miles, and at this point, I am just coasting on the highway. I'm trying not to give it any gas. I've turned off the heat at this point because it was only like 30 degrees outside. I've turned off the heat.
We weren't running the heat.
We were running the because it got steamy in there because you were doing a lot.
I was like, turn off the radio.
You were doing
too.
a lot of talking. The radio doesn't work. Finally, we got to a gas station on fumes.
Yeah.
I'm coasting in, and we made it. I don't know how we did, but we got gas. We made it. Chris didn't have to push the car. He would have had to push it because Chris, I don't know if you've known this about Chris, listening audience, he's won a half marathon.
Oh, yes.
So, yeah, he has. And we made it. So,
Yeah.
congrats to us.
And we're here in Indy. We're
Yes.
having a great time.
We did.
Kevin Kruger is joining Bleck Abdalla now here on Westwood One Sports, the assistant to the head coach at Illinois, as the Fighting Illini make their way to the Final Four. Coach,
Yeah.
it's great that the Illini are here.
Congratulations.
What's-
Thank you.
What's the mindset of the team prepping for Saturday?
Yeah, it's funny you say that because we were just talking about that with Dallin and Sean. I thought that we've all been around teams or been around programs where you kind of get to a point maybe that somebody didn't expect, or you get to a point that's kind of like a pinnacle, quote unquote pinnacle, like a Final Four or even the Sweet 16, where so many times you can almost have this feeling of this is good enough. And you have to fight that, and you have to get everybody kind of back together. But to Coach Underwood's credit, it has not felt like that. I mean, it has felt like, guys, this was incredible. He made sure everybody understood, all the players understood how unbelievable this accomplishment up to this point is. However, when we met the other day for the first time since Houston, or since the Houston trip, it still felt like there was a great feeling of, this is great, but let's get one more. And that is so hard to do, I think, to get everybody to feel that, because it's human nature, right? And so I thought he did an unbelievable job of that so far this week.
We hear from coaches and players all the time how tough it is, like you mentioned, to win X amount of games in so many days in this tournament. How tough is it also to navigate this week in particular? Like when you guys ride in on the bus and the Illinois logo's everywhere and everybody else is, and you see like Lucas Oil, and then you drive by the Marriott and the bracket is on the giant side of the building. How tough is it to tell your team, like, hey, we need to just focus on ourselves and trying to rein everybody in, that yes, this is the Final Four, but like we got to focus in and rein everybody in?
Yeah, I think that's a lot of that's the maturity of your team. There's some things you can't control. With social media being what it is now, there's a lot of things that you wish guys would never see or hear. But what are you going to do to an extent? Because I do think for coaches, it's of course a lot easier to just kind of shift your preparation and your mindset to like, all right, we got, because as soon as the game ended, the day later, it was like, all right, we got UConn, and we got to get ready for UConn, because you got to make sure that you do everything in your power so that the guys are as informed as they can possibly be. So hopefully the guys, I feel that the guys feel that too. Of course, it's a little different schedule instead of Thursday, Saturday. This time there's a few more days in front. But this group has has been as consistent of a group as I've ever been around. And they go to practice, they work hard, they do what they're supposed to do before practice with Coach Flesch, strength and conditioning coach. They do what they're supposed to do after. And they just have a very workman-like mentality to it. But at the same time, as I know you guys have seen, they have quite a bit of fun while doing so, which finding that blend, I think, is part of the reason why some teams excel more than others.
Kevin Kruger joining Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. We broadcast each and every day from Chicago. We're both from the northern Illinois suburbs. We're from there. We've lived there. We broadcast from downtown Chicago. We have talked a lot this week about this weekend and the amount of Illini fans are going to make their way east to Indiana and to Indianapolis for the Final Four. What's the vibe on campus this week? Before we break down the actual game, are you seeing that? Do you feel that you guys will have a lot of support here, maybe more than any other team that gets here?
Oh, I don't think there's any question. I don't know. I wouldn't know how to
quantify
that,
right,
but
right.
I think just knowing, Illini Nation and Illinois basketball, the fact that it's not a plane ride, it's a hop in your car and go. I think that there will be a substantial more amount of people here versus having to get on a plane, which is great. It's great to. I think there's going to be a lot of orange and blue in that stadium, and hopefully it's a huge stadium, but hopefully it's loud enough to kind of help the guys feel it and sense it. But the guys know how much Illinois loves them and how much the fan base loves them. I mean, the send-off, the welcome back when we got back from Houston, there's no confusion about how much Champaign-Urbana and Illinois fans love Illinois basketball.
You guys faced UConn back at the end of November. It was a loss. How much different is your team now, and how much different is UConn now?
I think there's definitely a lot of differences when you do anything as early as we did. If we had played in, like even Iowa, there were some differences, but not. I don't think either team was hugely different. But when you do play in November and you've got a freshman finding his way, you've got Andrei Stojakovic, who had missed 10 weeks in the preseason, kind of finding his footing and how they're all going to blend. Mirkovic is a freshman. Just all those guys that we didn't quite. Nobody really, you don't really know what you have with freshmen until about the Christmas time, Christmas mark. And so those guys played low minutes in that game, and then, of course, became staples of our Big Ten season. So we definitely feel like we're different. With UConn, of course, I'm sure they feel that they do some things different and better, but their DNA is their DNA, and that's championship-level DNA. So as much as anything, we know we're a little bit different, but we know that it's going to take an absolute, knockout punch after knockout punch to beat UConn.
When you're watching the tape, prepping for it, what's something that stands out on tape of Connecticut that you need to make sure your guys are aware of heading into this game?
Well, on the defensive side, you can never fall asleep. I mean, they run so many good sets and so much good action, and they blend so well together that the minute you fall asleep, take a break, or peek somewhere where you're not supposed to, somebody's shooting an open shot, or somebody's got a great post position. And they play, I think, in my opinion, they play as well off of each other as anybody in the country. And they just know what each other's going to do. They read and react with each other. And so we cannot take a break. And then on the offensive side, we got to take care of the ball. We got to continue to move parts and move bodies like Tyler Underwood's done an unbelievable job on the offensive side, getting hunting advantages and putting guys in spots where they can create for each other. And so if we can do that and we can kind of get them a little unsure defensively, hopefully we can get some open looks.
The last couple games for you guys, the second half, the defense is really locked down, the offense really starting. What are you guys doing in the second half back in the locker room? Is it like a Jordan Secret Stuff thing? Is it like a Space Jam thing happening? What is happening in the locker room in the second half of these games?
Well, the Coach Underwood was unbelievably calm in the second half at halftime of the Iowa game. He was extremely just level because one thing our defense has done is, Iowa came out and threw a haymaker, but then the last 35 minutes, we were pretty good. And I think our physicality, our length, it's just kind of, as cliche as it is, it's kind of a numbers game. We've got to make people take tough shots. We've got to rebound the ball. And then over the course of 40 minutes, we're going to love where we're at. So at halftime, there was no yelling, screaming, kicking stuff. It was very calm. It was very collected. And I think the guys really just took a breath at that moment and really just had probably our best half of the year.
Kevin Kruger joining Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. You're here on behalf of Coaches versus Cancer.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, the Coaches versus Cancer, specifically the Golf Classic in Vegas that is now in year 19. My dad started it 19 years ago. He lost his dad to cancer in the late 90s, so it's been something that's been near and dear to his heart. He got involved very young with a handful of other coaches, and it's grown, of course, nationally and even globally to an extent. with how many people are involved and how many people want to support and learn about it. But it's not just coaches versus cancer. His event in Vegas especially is, CEOs, business people, coaches, but not just basketball either. Dan Lanning was there last year. There's been football coaches that have come through, business owners that have come to help and be a part of it, and just raising awareness for cancer. Cancer research is the main goal, and because everybody's been affected one way or another by cancer.
Absolutely. Thank you for stopping by.
Thank you,
Good
guys.
luck this weekend.
Thank you, guys. ILL.
ILL.
There we go.
Kevin Kruger joining Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. The assistant to the head coach, Brad Underwood at Illinois. And the Fighting Illini will face off against Connecticut in the first game here of the Final Four action in Indianapolis on Saturday. So you got Illinois, you have Connecticut, and then you have Arizona, Michigan, the late game. So can't wait to get to Saturday in the games, and that was pretty cool for Kevin Kruger to stop by and hang out with Bleck Abdalla. Two guys from Chicago, from the northern suburbs, where we know a lot of people who are Illini fans. I would say the city of Chicago, we were asked this, I think Josh Graham asked us this earlier today, is off the air. He asked us, what's the fan base like in Chicago? Because it's really a melting pot for the Big Ten.
Yeah.
And you get equal fans from Michigan, from Illinois, Michigan State, Iowa, Ohio State,
Notre Dame,
and those are like the big ones. I'm not trying to intentionally leave anyone out. There's a lot of Hoosiers, right? Indiana has a lot of representatives in Chicago as well. But it's pretty cool to make the drive from Champaign just about under 2 hours, or right at 2 hours, to go east to Indianapolis. I'm sure there will be a lot of Illini fans here over the next couple of days. Bleck Abdalla, sponsored by Five Guys. Nervous about your tournament picks? Don't sweat it. Five Guys has consolation fries no matter the outcome. Hand cut and perfectly salted, they'll always make you feel like a winner. Best part about Five Guys, you order the fries, you get a burger, right? And you get more fries on top of the fries in the bag. It's the best. Consolation fries from Five Guys.
Almost needed those after our almost run out of gas.
But yes, we did stop at a Five Guys in Lafayette. We were able to acquire the bag fries and the consolation fries and got burgers, and boom, we were on our way. We made two stops. There's one for the gas after the gas situation, and then we secured the bag with Five Guys. Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Our friend Brad Evans from BetMGM tonight, he'll join us coming up next.
The Masters, where spring blooms, legends rise, and golf's most sacred traditions come alive. Every Masters moment on the Westwood One Sports app. We're live from Augusta, starting April 9th. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will be in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Hanging out at the Final Four, live from Indianapolis. It's Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Brad Evans now joins us here on Radio Row from BetMGM tonight, 6 to 11 Eastern each and every night right here on Westwood One Sports. Brad and Pat do a great job with the show, and you're going to be broadcasting live tonight and tomorrow, right, from this location?
Yes, believe it or not. I think I may be the only dude in here by the time 6 to 9 rolls around, but I'll make it work.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were talking to Josh Graham, who's on after you. He is also broadcasting from this room tonight until 3 Eastern. So crazy.
He's going to sleep under the table, let's be real.
Yeah.
So Westwood One Sports, we have you covered from Radio Row all night long from this room. Great sights and scenes.
I think they're going to give him a vacuum to clean this place up, too. And be like, hey, while you're in here.
We need more shrimp cocktail from St. Elmo's.
I know.
And a bar. Can I get a freestanding bar, please?
We can bring you guys over some refreshments.
Yeah.
Halfway through the night.
Mas tequila.
All right. Hey, that's my style.
Yeah,
tequila. I
my
love
jam.
tequila. So, Brad, when you look at getting to the Final Four and the matchups that we have, Illinois, Connecticut, and then the late game that everyone's pointing to, Michigan and Arizona, as like the game, the pseudo-championship game before we get to Monday night, what's the one thing that you're really looking forward to, like as you start to get the prep going and what everyone's kind of talking about here in Indy as the week kind of starts here, the Final Four.
Yeah, look, these two matchups going to be outstanding. And everybody's talking about Arizona and Michigan being the de facto national championship. It's a foregone conclusion. Whoever wins that game is going to cut down the nets. I think they're overlooking, Illinois and UConn to a certain extent. And for those of you who may be watching the video broadcast, yes, I'm dressed from head to toe.
Out.
And, I got matching shoes
Decked
for crying
out.
out loud in orange and blue. It's been 21 years, guys. 21 years. 2 times the last 36 years. I had hair 21 years ago. I don't have hair anymore. So I think Illinois UConn is really going to be a fabulous matinee, opening act for the Final Four. These two teams played one another back at MSG in late November. You guys talked to Kevin Kruger earlier. I got a chance to talk to him as well. Brad Underwood has said that film, he went back and watched and goes, I didn't recognize our team in that matchup. And if you look at the box score, it really plays out that way. As Walker only played 13, 14 minutes. Andrei Stojakovic, who's been key off the bench, was in the starting lineup. He had 3 lousy points in that game. Thomas Lavivicic was a little bit limited, but played decently. Jake Davis now in the starting lineup only played 9 minutes off the bench for that Illinois team in that shellacking they received from UConn. You might say, well, Terrace Reed only played 14 minutes. Braylon Mullins only played 10 minutes. Both these teams are coming in with kind of different iterations of one another, but I think it's going to be fabulous. And then Arizona, Michigan, triple overtime?
I'll take it.
Well, I'm already on the over, so I'll take it too.
Right.
We were asked earlier, we have a segment with Raj producing the show where he asked us over-unders on what will the spread of the game be at the end? And we both said, it's going to be like a couple points, right? Like 1 or 2 points. I think that's this close
Vegas knows.
of a game. This thing's going to be close.
It's a 1.5 is what it opened at. I immediately grabbed personally Arizona at even Steven, little baby seduced by the juice at plus 100 straight away because I think Arizona's got the best starting 5 in college basketball. I don't know if you guys have seen the Arizona team walk around downtown Indianapolis, but they were.
Yeah.
I was over at the Tom's Watch Bar hanging out with a field of 68 guys, and they walked by massive human beings.
Big dudes.
They're big.
Tall.
And they got decent bench and depth on that team. Outstanding guard play with Burries and Bradley. I think they're the better team, though that game is going to come down to 50-50s, maybe a turnover. Something just bat-bleeping crazy out of left field will decide that matchup, and it could be first to 90 wins. And again, please, gambling gods, give me triple overtime so Daddy don't have to sweat the over.
That'd be nice. Now, obviously Illinois has to lose for this to happen, so sorry in advance. But if UConn should advance against Michigan or Arizona, I know he doesn't play, but I can't get past the fact that Dan Hurley is the best coach left in this scenario. Yeah. He's done this. He's been here 3 out of the last 4 years. If he wins, he'll have won 3 out of the last 4. He's going to have the coaching advantage in any of these. I know that Michigan and Arizona would be the better teams, but you've got to give that some form of credence when you're looking at that match. If UConn wins against either Michigan or Arizona, looking ahead, if UConn does win, what do you think of that matchup against Michigan or Arizona? Who should they want to face?
Neither. Let's be real, guys. I think whoever wins Arizona, Michigan, I feel very confident they're going to cut down the nets and win the national title.
Yeah.
Now, UConn is a team you can't count out. If they can actually hit their threes. Remember that game, that story comeback they had against the Dukies, baby, in which Billy Raftery's soul left his body for a minute and then came back in.
You could see it. You could see it click on and off.
It was amazing.
There was a moment where we were all going to have to.
You're like, are
you?
Hey,
sir,
hey,
all right?
hey,
sir,
hey,
sir. Oh, he's with us. All right,
thank you.
Grant Hill, jump in there, do something.
Grant, I think
we almost lost Grant too.
He was having a similar moment. Look, they started 1 of 18 from 3 in that game.
Mm-hmm.
So Caravan's got to step up. Mullins has got to be more consistent over 2 halves of play. And they're going to just have to shoot, I think, at least 35% from outside to have slightly more of the puncher's chance of winning the thing. And Terrace's got to stay out of foul trouble because Arizona, Michigan, they got bigs. They wear you down. They're going to draw whistles. But you're right. You cannot count out Danny Hurley and the buttons that he pushes and the head hugs that he has with certain officials as well.
We've broken this down throughout the week and also earlier today. It was more of like a forehead rub.
It was a graze.
It was a graze.
It was not a headbutt. It was a
love tap.
Let's put our foreheads together and just have a moment.
Yeah.
It was right. Like, have you ever seen something like that? I've never seen that. Two individuals in a situation like that rubbing their foreheads against each other. It was very odd.
I'm really surprised in this day and age of AI that somebody hasn't taken the next step and just have him like making out with the ref.
Well,
I'm sure that's
what's
out
surprising
there.
to me is that like other refs have been called upon to like comment on it, and this has divided the
collection of
referee
refs.
community.
Yeah.
Like Gene Steratore said he didn't have a problem with it. Now other refs are mad at Gene Steratore, and it's like, how could you
What
go
do they,
against refs? And it's like, guys, come on, what are we
It's like-
doing here?
The people are making a mountain out of a molehill. Basically.
Yeah.
It's real nerdy, but I can't pull it. But what do they call that when like the Jedis all get together?
Oh, like that council
Yeah,
thing
the
that
council,
they had.
like
yeah,
their council.
yeah,
like
yeah.
I feel like the referee council had to get together
like,
and
come on,
and rule.
guys, move
on
You
on.
guys are giving me flashbacks to the
Yeah.
Phantom Menace.
Yes,
which
yes, exactly.
royally sucks.
Yes.
For the record.
Yes, awful.
No, I agree.
Awful.
Brad Evans hanging out with Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. The other major story we've been talking about today outside of the Final Four is Kirk Cousins is signing with the Raiders, and the Raiders are saying he will be the starter this upcoming season. Abdalla and I were talking about this. To me, that is the wrong way to handle drafting a rookie quarterback. You got to figure out this kid can play. You don't get a built-in year to wait to play your number one draft pick. That, to me, is not realistic. They may say that today, but I think halfway through the season, a quarter into the season, Mendoza will be the quarterback for the Raiders, and it won't be Kirk Cousins.
I think they're going to come to that realization a second day of training camp, gentlemen. It's utterly preposterous that you're going to go out there and spend that kind of draft capital in this day and age and give the guy the Aaron Rodgers treatment, the Steve McNair treatment. Like, go old school, dial back the clock, and live in an antiquated time. It's preposterous. You look at Mendoza. You might say, oh, he played for Indiana. Yeah, they won the damn national title. And they did it against, stiff and stout competition on that magical playoff run. And he sliced and diced some extraordinary defenses full of NFL players. And he was a guy, too, and this is me being the numbers nerd that I am because I love advanced data. You go to Pro Football Focus, and sorry for the people who got laid off recently, but at PFF, he was top 10 in adjusted completion percentage last year. Playing in the Big Ten, making that storied run in the national title.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous that Cousins, the stone statue that is Kirk Cousins, would get any kind of start or three or however many it is, and you're going to leave Mendoza on ice and be like, oh, yeah, you're going to earn your time. Your time's going to come soon enough. If the Raiders are serious about winning, they start Mendoza week 1. They make the investments in the wide receiver position in the NFL draft and some of the other picks they got. You got Brock Bowers, got Ashton Genty, and you let the cards fall where they fall. Period, end of story. It's ridiculous.
Well, you also paid Linderbaum all this money. You reset the center market.
That's true.
I mean, like, what do you to what? To protect Kirk Cousins?
He's going to need all the protection
possible.
I
know, but you invested
move, so.
all of that money in that position, and you mentioned the other weapons he has. To not have Mendoza out there, is it too late for Mendoza to pull an Eli and say, "I'm not going to go there. Don't draft me. I'm going to go somewhere else"?
What's his better option? The Jets or the Cardinals? Come on, you're going to the Raiders.
Well, if you go to the Jets, that's living in hell on earth. Nobody wants to do that.
No one wants that.
Does he have any more eligibility? Can he go back to school? Can he go back to school? No.
Cannot.
Okay, never mind.
Come to Illinois.
BetMGM tonight, 6 to 11 Eastern. What do you have planned for the show this evening?
I got some interviews already in the can. You guys talked to Kevin Kruger. I got a great chance to talk to Bruce Thornton and MJ Collins. There's a couple there. Maybe we're going to get some more. We're going to be breaking down the Final Four. Mike LaTulip, who played Illinois and at Wright State. I saw him at the bar with the field of 68 guys. He's going to be on set with me. I might try to pry Rob Doster away and Jeff Goodman away, but they're losers. They won't give me the time of day. So we'll be breaking down more Kirk Cousins news, the NBA slate tonight, Major League Baseball, go Cubs go, and, of course, the Final Four.
Awesome. We'll be listening. I usually listen at night as well
I'm sorry.
at home. So keep up the great work. You and Pat are doing a great job. So thanks for stopping by.
My pleasure, gentlemen.
Absolutely.
Hey,
it's finally great to meet you.
It's
as well.
great to meet you. First round is on me tonight, and let's
Absolutely.
do ourselves a favor and find Billy Raft, and he'll pick up the tab.
Let's do it.
Onions.
Absolutely.
Big onions.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Brad. Appreciate it.
See you, boys.
It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app, sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Save on commercial auto insurance from Progressive. Get a fast quote at progressivecommercial.com. There was a big night in the NBA last night. Big performances for the Celtics, for the Spurs, Wemby, Jaylen Brown. We'll talk about that coming up next.
The weather is heating up, and so is the sports calendar. We are your home of the Final Four, the Masters, and the NFL Draft, taking you inside the sports you care about. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Live from Indy in the Final Four. Make sure you check out the podcast of today's show, Apple, Spotify, and also in Odyssey. And you can also like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, broadcasting live from the Final Four on YouTube, Bleck and Abdalla Show. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel. New content posted each and every day right here on our YouTube channel, Bleck and Abdalla Show. It's Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Thank you to Raj and to Lauren for producing our show. I think Mark Few is going to sit down with us.
Ooh, okay.
So that's why I paused quickly. As Mark Few is walking over to join Bleck and Abdalla, we have Jim Rome coming up in about 14 minutes here on Westwood One Sports as we continue to hang out here at the Final Four. And Mark Few sitting down to join Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports in the Westwood One Sports app. Coach, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, my pleasure, guys. Thanks for having me on.
It's a pretty great Final Four that we have here. I know you would prefer to be here coaching in it, but what we have with Michigan and Arizona, the second matchup, and then the first matchup with Illinois taking on UConn, kind of when we look at these two matchups, what are the storylines that intrigue you from a coaching perspective when you're just going to casually watch the games on Saturday?
I mean, starting with the first one, I think it's just a great contrast of styles, and I really applaud both of them. I mean, Coach Hurley's just done a great job of just building that program on, just toughness and just force, how they come at you. The way they rebound the ball, the way they get after you in transition. And then the interesting thing with them, I don't think that people probably realize, is so many of us are run primarily ball screen-centric offenses, and UConn has a ton of off-ball action. It's just beautiful stuff with just tons and tons of motion. So it's a hard prep, and then obviously what Coach Underwood and his staff have done, just spreading it out with 5 shooters, and they have great positional size. I mean, extraordinary positional size. And I think their rebounding numbers are really, really strong too. That's going to be a big key, is who wins the battle on the glass, and if Illinois can shoot a high percentage from 3. Second matchup is incredible. I mean, obviously, got basically a family member coaching in the second one with Tommy, who was with us for 20 years. Our kids are intertwined. We were with them last night and had everybody together. Our wives are best friends. So, I'm extremely biased in that one, but I can also speak personally after we played Michigan early in the year and got destroyed in the players era. They played great.
Right.
Much how they played against Rick Barnes in Tennessee. When they're making threes at a high rate, I mean, that's a scary team. So that's going to be an incredible game to watch. They both play fast. They both have amazing size, and they paint points are going to be really, really interesting in that one. That's what Arizona does great, but I mean, it's hard to get paint points against Michigan.
What's it like navigating this week and leading up to this week and then arriving in the city? For coaches that have been to it, it's different. But what do you tell your players when they pull up to the stadium and they see, their logo on the side of the stadium and the brackets on the building and everything? How do you calm them down and get their nerves back in check?
I mean, I did it a little differently, especially in the first one in 17 in Phoenix. I wanted us to just take it all in, man. You don't know how many times you're going to get back. And I literally wanted us to take it all in. and just enjoy every moment of it. And I was coaching a very mature team, so I knew that they'd be fine once we, got to game time. But yeah, just to see, the fanfare, to see, and the NCAA's done just such a great job of taking care of the teams. Lately, I think in the last 7, 8 years, they've really stepped it up, and what they do in the hotels and everything they do for the players is really spectacular. But, man, there's nothing like it, guys, when you walk up on that floor. I'm sure when the players went up there to warm up and when I walked out there, 3 minutes before the game, it's pretty breathtaking, to see 80,000 people in the stands.
Mark
We
Few.
don't usually get that.
Yeah, Mark Few, Gonzaga head coach, hanging out with Bleck Abdalla for a couple more minutes before the show ends and before we go to Jim Rome here on Westwood One Sports. Congratulations to getting voted into the Hall of Fame, the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame.
I don't think it's been announced yet, so I mean
it's out there. It is
sometimes
out
things
there.
are out there, but
it is out there. Yahoo's
want you to
reporting
know
it.
officially that
The New York Times is reporting it, but
yeah.
in the future, Bleck and Abdalla would like to say congratulations. If and when you get elected to it, what does that mean for your career and your life in basketball? If you were ever to get to the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame.
Hypothetically, what would it mean?
It is mind-blowing. You need to understand, man. I came from a town when I grew up of 1,500 people. My dad was a Presbyterian minister there for 54 years, still lives there. And, it's not even some people ask, is it a dream come true? You can't even dream something like that, But it's just a testament, I'm telling you, just being surrounded by great people all the way up, and it starts with the players. I mean, the players we've had at Gonzaga, man, have just been incredible. And, year after year after year, and including this year. And then also just incredible staff members, and then, basically it takes a village.
Yeah.
It really, truly, and it's taken a bigger village now in this day and age. And the great thing about Gonzaga is they've grown with it and understood that, the village needs to get bigger. And that's, I think, what's made it so special. It's been a total partnership with everybody pulling the rope in the same direction.
Well, congratulations in the future, if and when that is announced. Thank you for taking a couple moments to stop by for this show.
Yeah,
we're wrapping up the show here in the
You
next
bet.
minute or so, so thank you so much for stopping by. We appreciate it.
And Jim, if you're kicking it to him, is an incredible friend of mine, and we always have a blast when we get together on his show, and feels like I've been doing it for 30 years.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that it's getting kicked to him now.
Yeah, he's great. Jim Rome's the absolute best, and it's an honor for us to be on in front of him each and every day here on the Westwood One Sports Network. So thank you, Mark. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.
Mark Few, Gonzaga head coach, joining Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. How about that? That was cool. One of the best college coaches that is still currently coaching, and the reports everywhere.
Yes.
Say that they will announce that Mark Few will be a part of the Hall of Fame class.
I didn't ask him who I think he's going to win, who he thinks is going to win, because I think we know who he's pulling for.
Yes, Tommy Lloyd in Arizona.
Yes,
absolutely.
And I think if I asked him who he thinks should take the North Carolina job, I think we know who he's pulling for there.
Tommy Lloyd.
And
yes, absolutely.
He thinks he's probably a great candidate. So those questions did not need to be asked.
No, you're right. Before Mark Few walked over, I was going to give you a little spiel about Wemby, but we can save it for a different day. I mean,
he's not going anywhere.
The one thing that I saw on Wembanyama from last night is obviously the 41-18. The dude has only played 29 minutes per game this season.
That's crazy.
Like, think about it. If he was playing 33 or 34 minutes a night, he's the MVP. And I know that that's a lot of the social conversation today, is that should we really consider that Wemby's the guy for MVP? I look at it a little bit differently. How good is this guy going to be in the playoffs when he's playing more minutes? I think that's the thing to kind of keep your eyes on, is like how dangerous he will be once he starts playing more minutes in the playoffs when we get there in like a week and a half. All right, tonight, what do we have on tap? What are we doing?
We're not going to try to run out of any gas because we're not driving anywhere. We're going to go for some dinner. We're going to try to get Josh drunk before his show.
No, don't.
And
no,
then
our bosses will not appreciate that.
Yeah. No, I'm kidding.
Live from Indy, we'll be back tomorrow. Jim Rome and the Jim Rome Show is coming up next.
This is Westwood One Sports.